Hello, hey, good morning. All right, let's get in my pockets. Hello, Black women. If you have a thing that you're moving towards or that you're working on, a goal, a dream, a plan, a wish, and you need the money to do that thing, you're in the right place because today we're going to talk about how I saved $14,000 to live my dream back in 2020, back in 2015, when I only made $22 an hour, right? When I made $22 an hour, I, with intention, saved $14,400 so that I could live my dream. My dream was to take a gap year, a career break, a sabbatical, and travel the world. I traveled the world for $1,200 per month for 12 months. And so today we're going to talk about where that money came from. This is going to be helpful to you, I think, if you have anything that you need to get money for. You're not going to use my plan. My plan's probably not going to work for you, but you're going to hopefully find a strategy inside of this conversation. That's what I hope we can do today. But first, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Stephanie Perry. I'm a house sitter. I'm the creator of House Sitter School and the co-creator of Exodus Summit. And I help Black women take a sabbatical, move abroad, bop around as a nomad, all while embracing ease. If these things sound good to you, please subscribe to the channel. Hit the subscribe button to the channel, please. The button, you have to actually do it. Thank you. And then turn on notifications, ring the notification bell, and you'll be notified when I post a new video or when I go live with my friends. Hello, friends. How's everybody? Hey, Diamond. Hey, Charlesetta. Hey, Tanya. I think you spread it out for me to understand that it's Tanya. Hey, Junket. Hey, Greta. Hey, Nicole. Hi, Danica. Hey, Lindsay. How's everybody? Yeah, I know. Listen, I don't know. I don't know what happened to the year. I didn't want to do a New Year recap because I don't understand how this is almost New Year's Eve. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I don't get it. Where is 2023? I don't know. I've been just kind of like ignoring the fact that 2023 is almost over because but not really, not really. So, hey, Tracy. So, this is a good time of year to talk about money because this is a time when we start thinking about what we really want for ourselves, right? What do we really want for the year and for the future, for the foreseeable future? I have some things that I want to do next year that we'll talk about, some exciting things that I have planned for 2024, and they're going to take money too. Okay, so we're going to talk about how I got money back in 2015 to live out my dream. And we're going to talk about how I approach things now when things are very different, when I don't make $22 an hour. In fact, I don't even have a job, right? How do I now approach these things that require money? Because listen, everything requires money. I don't know. I'll be glad when this part of humanity is done. When things no longer require money, I'll be happy. Okay. So hi everyone. If you're new here to a live stream, you have to say good morning. Okay. So you have to say good morning in the chat. It's a requirement. Okay. So take a second, write in the chat, good morning. Okay. We can close out the year with you not lurking anymore. If you're watching the replay, hello friends in the future. Hello. Say hi in the comments, okay? Say hello. Say good morning, okay? Or if you're not watching in the morning, say good afternoon. Say good evening, okay? It's a requirement, okay? All right. So if you don't mind, if you want, would you like to share a thing that you are needing money for in 2024 or 2025? A money goal that you're working on, right? I'll share one of mine. You know, I'm having my 50th birthday. So I already did the sabbatical. I already traveled the world for a year, which turned into 8 years now. That was 2015, right? I have not sat down since, okay? I still don't have a home. Still don't have a place to lay my head. I still don't have my own forks. I'm still bopping around. So 8 years later, I'm still going. But I have some things. So that is not my money goal anymore, right? Saving to take a sabbatical is not my money goal anymore. That was my money goal. Did it. Checked it off. Now my money goal is, listen, I want to lose my mind and feet. Now, let's see. Say the words you mean. I want to have the time of my life in Fiji for my 50th birthday. Birthday in Fiji. So that is a thing that I am putting money towards now, right? That is a thing that I'm making decisions about now. 50th, and that is July 5. Let's put some things, put a little birthday party. Let's put a little crown. Let's do a little Fiji would be island. Okay. All right. So the thing now for me is no longer I want to save money or put money towards travel or towards no, it is travel. I no longer want to put money towards the career break or the sabbatical or the gap year. Now I'm putting money towards the birthday, right? Fiji 50. So if you would like to share your thing, you're welcome to. You know, I believe in saying out loud what you want. I just met with a woman on Friday, and I reached out to her on, I think, Wednesday to say, I need somebody to do this thing for me. Can you help me with the thing? And she said, you know what? I had just said out loud when you scheduled this meeting, I had just said out loud, you know what I want to do? I want to do more of this particular thing. She's a business owner who does a thing. I don't want to tell you too much, right? She's a business owner who does a particular, by the time the video's over, I will have told you, okay? But her name is Chiquita, and I had a meeting with her on Friday, and she said, you scheduled this on Wednesday. She said, or maybe Tuesday, I had just said out loud, I want to do more of this. And here comes your calendar invitation. I believe in saying what you want out loud, which is why I said, I took back saying I want to lose my mind in Fiji. I want to have an amazing time. I want to have the best time of my life so far in Fiji for my 50th birthday with some of you. Some of y'all are going too, right? So if you want to share the thing that you want, say it. I think. This is a safe place. A lot of you don't have experience having places where you can say something because people will judge you for it. But you're probably not going to get judged. I don't know, unless you're trying to give money to a certain political campaign or something. We're probably not going to judge you. Somebody in the chat is probably going to be like, me too, right? That's what we do here. Okay, so let's see. What's Tanya? My trip to Ghana in August. Yes. Tracy Mills, double retirement savings again in 2024 like I did in 2023. Good. Double your retirement savings again. Yeah. Yes. You know, I got to read things twice to understand it, okay? Lenora is planning a scouting trip to Mexico. Yes, right? Anita, the global granny, continue to bop around until I find a new home. Yes, Anita's still traveling. She's bopping, and she means the world. She didn't say bop around the world, but she means bop around the world. TJ, good morning, good morning. Ashley Scott, money for traveling as a nomad. Sandra, money to build the business so I can hire a VA. Yes, right? Yes, I'm there, right? Yes. Yes, I'm a Cancer. Aw, Patty. Aw, daughter's 18th birthday. Why do they have to grow up? Why? You're probably excited about this. It's really, when you see people's kids growing up, I talked to my friend the other day about another friend that we have. And I was like, I'm so sick of opening Facebook and seeing her kids getting older and older. Why? Essence revealed, increased savings to get closer to full-time travel. Yes. Simi, 40th in Kenya in my new home. Yes. Okay, good. Kay took her daughters to Africa for a month this year. Congratulations. I hope it was wonderful. Yes. E.V. Scott to travel for enjoyment, find my new home abroad. Okay. So you guys have a thing. Miss Callie, pay off credit cards, save money for whatever, right? For whatever. Save money for whatever I choose, right? I want to use it however I want to use it. Yes, indeed. Yes. Okay. Dominique Bell, money for Ghana in June. Yes. Okay, good. Okay. Thank you very much for sharing some of your money I guess they're like money plans, the plans that you have for your money. Now, let me tell you quickly, I can tell you this pretty quickly, how I saved $14,400 to travel for 1 full year and how I knew $14,000 was enough to those two things, okay? I was a hospital pharmacy technician and I worked night shift and I made $22 an hour. Uh, my overtime pay was good. And when I worked overtime, I netted after taxes, after the money that went into my like retirement account and whatever, wherever the money goes before it comes to you, right? I netted $20 an hour in overtime. Right, so it's probably $44 an hour for overtime pay. But after all this, this went here and that went there, I knew if I worked for every hour of overtime, I was getting another $20. $14,400 was what I needed, and I made $7,200 from working overtime. And I believe that was 24 hours of overtime per month. I went back and looked at an old video that I made. 24 hours of overtime per month, which was 2 8-hour shifts per month, plus some extra hour, plus a couple extra, plus what, 4 extra hours, 8, 16. Oh, that must be 3 8-hour shifts per month. 3 8-hour shifts per month. So 1.5 every pay period. My coworker went out on long-term disability right as soon as I came back from, let me start from the beginning. When I, for my 40th birthday, 2004, 2014, who knows? 2014, for my July of 2014, for my 40th birthday, I went to Brazil. And I met a whole bunch of people who were traveling in Brazil long term, but they weren't rich people, right? I'm like, how are you in Brazil for 90 days or 180 days? And they told me that these two young dudes from San Diego were like, we quit our jobs and we're traveling on our savings. And when we run out of money, we'll go back and get our jobs back. And I was like, me too. Immediately, I knew that that was how I was going to live my life from there on, right? Work, save up money, travel, quit and travel. Work, save up money, quit and travel. And I did that for a couple of cycles. Um, so I came back from Brazil July of 2014, and I left September of 2015. So that was what, 15 months for me to get together $14,400 for this. I had a little money here, actually, I don't think I had very much savings at all, but I had some things working in my favor. First of all, I'm a solo person, right? I only have to take care of me, which sometimes is good, but sometimes it's not good because all the bills are mine. All right. So I do think it's easier for people who are not solo people, for people who are in couples or relationships. I think sometimes some of these things are a little easier. But anyway, I'm getting off track. Benefits. I didn't have any things that were working out for me that you may need to adjust for. It was just me, right? It was me and my dog, who actually died not long, right before it was time for me to leave. My dog died. So it's just me and my dog, me and Star. And I had just paid off my car. I think I paid off my car. In my memory, I remember opening the thing from the bank saying, what did they give you, the title or the deed or whatever? It's not a deed to a car. I got the paper that said I owned that car. In my mind, I got that right before I left for Brazil. It might have been a couple of weeks, but I had paid off my car a month or two before I left on the trip. So I no longer had a car payment. I didn't have any kids to feed, and I could work overtime. My coworker went out on overtime on disability like as soon as I came back. And so there was pretty much any overtime shift I wanted, I could work. So those were things I had working for me. That's why I'm saying my plan won't work for you, but my strategy might. I'm taking business owner classes. And then this week, as a matter of fact, I tried to learn the difference between strategy and planning. And the man, I can't remember the man's name, he was like, strategic planning is a myth. Okay, you have strategy and you have planning. Okay, strategy and planning are two different things. Don't ask me the difference. Still don't understand. I took the class, I still don't understand the difference between strategy and planning, but I believe I'm saying this right. My plan won't work for you, but my strategy will. My strategy was looking at what were my advantages and what were the opportunities that I could take advantage of. So $14,400 is what I wanted. 7,200 of that came from working overtime for 15 months. 3 extra shifts per month for 15 months. Yeah. All right. I like to look at things in terms of how many months of sabbatical it gave me, right? If I knew $1,200 a month is what my sabbatical is going to cost me, then what did that give me? So that gave me 6 months right off the jump. And then I cut off DirecTV because this was 2014. I still had DirecTV. I cut off DirecTV. And over the course of 15 months, that savings going directly into that sabbatical account paid for a full month. DirecTV paid for a full month of travel, cutting off DirecTV. I had some things in my house that I sold. I had a bike I'd never ridden. I had a guitar, a left-handed guitar. I'm left-handed. Had a left-handed guitar that I never could tune because I have some hearing loss. I'm pointing at the wrong ear, but I have some partial hearing loss, and I could never get my guitar tuned. So I sold my guitar, right? So I had some things that were that gave me chunks of cash that helped me get closer. I'm gonna say I got 2 months from selling stuff. I had some Dooney purses. I had those were the things that brought in, money by the hundreds or 50s, brought in money by the 50s, selling stuff that I didn't need. Now, I actually sold and got rid of everything because I knew I wasn't coming back to that same life. But I don't know that we need to do that. Some of you don't want that, right? Some of you like your house, you like your stuff, but there may be something in there that you can sell that will give you 1 month where you ain't got to work, right? So selling my stuff, I think that gave me 2 months off, and that was now. So now we're at 9 months, right? The other 3 months came from the advice I hate, which was cutting out, like cooking my own food. I went from buying every meal, right? I went from eating out for every meal, like seriously every meal, to cooking my own food. I think I made a video about this a long time ago. I think that was somewhere around $10 per day, and not just $10 per work day, but $10 per day, right? So $10 per day saved over the course of 15 months. 15 months times 30 days is 450 days times 10, $4,500. That sounds about right, right? So more than 3 months of travel was just from switching from eating out all the time to cooking my own food, cutting out happy hour, all of that. I wouldn't recommend a drastic change like that. That was drastic, but it was for a short term. I'm not a person who is in favor of doing things that you don't like for long periods of time, but I will do things I don't like for a period of time if it will get me closer to something I do like, something I do want, right? So I am not a cook my own food person, and I wouldn't tell you to become a cook your own food person if you don't like it. But I would tell you that if you have a short-term goal, that's what I did. I'm pretty sure it was $10 a day and like $10 every day difference, you know, from making that change. Even today, I don't know. Groceries are higher now. Groceries are higher now. I don't know if it would do that. Probably, probably. I'm thinking about my own self because 3 days ago, I just ordered wings, onion rings, a salad, and one dessert, and that cost me $60. So I'm like, well, I'm eating this food for 3 days. Seriously, I've been eating them chicken. I finished those chicken wings yesterday. I ordered them 3 days ago. I had to eat that for 3 days. I'm like, ain't no way. Please ask your questions. Yes, hey S. Jones, please ask your questions. You may want to put Q or question in front of your question because the chat scrolls by a little quickly. And because I'm not the best at paying attention, and because I use a third party called Ecamm Live, and I don't see everything. So if you have a question, ask a question, right? That's what we're here for. Hi, T. Kane. That's where I struggle, cooking my own food, but I should do it myself more often. I think there is a middle ground where we could still save money on food by maybe having someone, I think, so my future, my 2024, once I get settled down, I have a lot of bopping around to do from January to May. But once I settle down, May, June, the end of July, August, September, October, I think that will look like me paying someone to do some meal prep or paying someone to, I think there's a middle ground between eating from restaurants every day, to cooking my own food, I think there's a middle ground where I could save money but still not hate life. Because I don't enjoy cooking. I know that some people don't understand that. I just don't enjoy it. Some of you get joy from it. Some of you get joy from a lot of things I don't enjoy. I don't enjoy doing my hair. Some of you get joy from sitting down and doing your hair. I don't get joy from those things. So I am, um, let me put a star by this question. So I am looking for a middle ground. I don't necessarily need to go extreme, like packing my lunch and packing my meals every day, but I would like a middle ground because I'm spending too much money. Because that $60 is, I've eaten out every meal every day, right? Like that's a lot of money. That's too much. That's too much. Now hey Teresa says, I tried to find someone to cook for me in Turkey. It wasn't worth it. I could eat out for less. Yeah, so there are places where eating out is the move. I've never been to Turkey, but I think in Southeast Asia, just eat out. Like seriously, just eat out. It's so inexpensive. You're going to Cambodia, Vietnam, Thailand, maybe not the Philippines, but Cambodia, Thailand, Vietnam, Malaysia, Indonesia, just eat out. Eat out. You can find places where you can eat out for very, 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 very cheap. Okay. So that transitions us. So that's how I saved the $14,400. That transitions us into how I knew $14,000 was the number. How did I come up with the $14,400 number? And where did I leave money on the table? When I was in Brazil and those dudes from San Diego were like, oh yeah, you can just quit and you can travel on your savings. They also told me, yeah, like a lot of people are traveling on like $40 a day. In Brazil, I don't even think it was $40 a day in Brazil. That was younger people. I was 41, but they were 20 something, early 20s. Younger people who didn't mind sharing accommodation, sleeping in a dorm room. That was the number back then. Numbers go up. So I don't know. But back then, $30 in some really inexpensive places and $40 in a lot of Southeast Asia per day was plenty, plenty. In Vietnam, $40 a day was plenty in 2015, 2016. So what I did was I came home from Brazil and I just started watching YouTube. I watched and read blogs and watched people talk about money in their places. There was a couple named Sam and Audrey who were teachers in, I don't know, Korea. I don't know. They were white, maybe Canadians, who were teaching somewhere in Southeast Asia, and they traveled, or teaching somewhere in Asia, and they traveled around Asia a lot, and they were very good about tracking what things cost and sharing what things cost. And back then, $40 a day, I knew I could do it because I was okay sleeping in a dorm room. In Brazil, that time in Brazil was my first time sleeping in a dorm room. It wasn't technically a hostel. It was just a home that some people had turned into a hostel for the World Cup, right? The World Cup coincided with my birthday. And so they had taken their son's room and they had bunk beds in the son's room and they'd added in a full-size bed in there. And that was my first experience, I believe, sleeping in a dorm room. And I knew that I could do that, right? It was it was just the three of us, one bunk bed and me in the full bed. And that told me that I could travel like that. So yeah, $40 a day back then was sleeping in dorm rooms and hostels. Today, for $40 a day, you would need to add in some things. So let's talk about what I knew about. No, let's talk about where I left money on the table. House sitting. House sitting. I didn't learn about house sitting until I came back from that gap year. I came back September 2016, and that's when I started Googling. Now, I don't have any money. Google, how can I travel with no money? And Google was like, you should be a house sitter. It introduced me to a website from a woman named Nora Dunn, who's the professional hobo, and she had done some house sits, and that's how I got introduced to house sitting. If I had house sat on that year, I probably could have traveled for at least two more months, just with some house sits, not even like mostly house sits, just like 3 or 4 weeks of house sitting would mean 3 or 4 weeks of more travel. So house sitting would be the main way that I left money on the table. But you know me, and so you don't have to leave money on the table because you can house sit now. Simone Williams, what caused me to run out of money during that sabbatical? 12 months. Like I ran out of money because I only had $14,400, $1,200 a month, and I stayed gone for 12 months. So it's not like I ran out of money early. I ran out of money because it was 12 months, you know? I came home with like 30 or $40 only. I made it all 12 months. I did have some unexpected expenses that cost me more. You know, that's what unexpected means. I drowned my phone and I had to buy a phone. I drowned my, I was, you know, this is 2014. I had the 2015. I had the iPhone 5S. So I went and bought a new 5S. Not a new, another 5S. I guess it was new. I don't know. I bought another iPhone. I even bought a laptop in Australia. I don't really remember why. I think I just wanted it. I bought a laptop in Australia. Any other unexpected expenses? Nothing major, I don't think. I think those were the two big unexpected things. But because I had done some work exchanges, not house sits, but work exchanges where I got free room and board, I got to recoup some of that money. I got free room and board for, I think, 2 months or more in Australia, which is a very expensive country. So that was really helpful, crazy helpful. And then I did some travel that I hadn't really anticipated doing, some extra side trips that required transportation. Transportation is really the thing that can mess you up, right? Deciding at the last minute to fly to Australia instead of staying in wherever I was, Bali, was a cost thing. But I made up for it by not having to pay for food or accommodation for most of the time that I was in Australia. So that's how, hi Camille, that's how I determined how much I needed. I just did some Googles, watched some people's videos, and listened to them talk about how much things are costing real time, right now, on the ground. So today, that's what you would do, right? You would find somebody in the place that you want to go, right? You want to go to South Africa, you want to go to Guatemala, right? Find somebody who's real time making content, videos or blog posts or podcast episodes, and sharing what things cost and like showing what things cost, right? I stayed in a room in Hoi An, Vietnam for $180 for the month. It was a room, it didn't have room with its own bathroom, en suite bathroom, but it didn't have a full kitchen. I had a mini fridge and a microwave and a kettle, right? That was it. $180 for a full month, but I knew that was possible because someone else had already shared a bunch of videos on that. And in Chiang Mai, I had a whole apartment for $450 for the month. A whole apartment in like a nice part of town in a nice building, not new building, but nice building, nice place. Walking distance to the mall, walking distance to anything. All the restaurants were there. $450 for the full month. I knew what those things were going to cost because people were sharing that, and people are still sharing that kind of information. So YouTube was super helpful. Um, yeah, that's how. That's how, right? So your main expenses. So, and this number didn't include the flight to Asia and back, right? That was something that I paid for while I still had a job. So I didn't count that in the $14,000 number. While I still had a job, I bought my ticket to Asia, my ticket back. I actually bought two because Connie Perry, when I announced that I was going for a year to Thailand, I told him I was just going to Thailand. I didn't tell him I was going to bop around because I didn't think they could handle it. I told him I was going to Thailand for a year. And my mom thought I was losing my mind. Seriously, it was that strange. It was that strange of a thing at this time in the world. And so I promised her that I would come back home for her birthday in April. So I left in September. I came back for her birthday in April. But by the time I came back for her birthday, she was fine, right? She even said to me, "So what made you want to come back home for a while?" And I'm like, "Lady, you don't remember how you acted, right?" It's the way you act. That's why I'm here. Um, so anyway, I don't. Flying to the place is the biggest expense, but for me, that was paid for beforehand. I paid for my flight there and back from September to April, and then I paid for my flight back April to whatever. No, I paid for one way the second time. I paid for the round trip plus a one way, and I knew I needed to keep the money to get myself back home at the end, which I did. My cousin Marcy, I sat down with my cousin Marcy we were in Paris together. Marcy met up with me while I was traveling. She met up with me in Paris, and I sat down on the bed with her, and I was like, now, either I have money to fly back home, or I can pull money out of we had 403B, right? Pull money out of my retirement account and stay a little longer. And I'm talking to Marcy because she's the most responsible person. She's much younger than me, but she's a very responsible person. So I was like, I need somebody to talk me down because I'm about to pull this money out of my retirement account. Marcy goes, well, sounds like you're not ready to go home yet. I'm like, girl, you're giving me bad advice. Not, it wasn't bad advice. It just was not what I wanted her to tell me. It's actually fine advice. And if you want to pull money out of your 401k to travel, do it. It's your money. Okay? And I pulled money out after the fact for other things. So how did I know how much I needed? Other people told me, and I trusted them. This is why I stayed in one region mostly. I stayed in Southeast Asia and Australia, but from Bali, a flight to Australia is not that much, right? So Southeast Asia and Australia, which is kind of one and a half regions. And then flying back, I knew I was going to pass through Portugal I knew I was going to fly into Paris. And then from Paris, it was going to be pretty easy to get back to Delaware. So that's how I added in Paris and Portugal. I didn't do Latin America, even though I really wanted to. I really wanted to visit Latin America during that year, but I knew that my budget didn't have room for me to take transcontinental flights. My budget had enough money for me to take buses and ferries and trains, not transcontinental flights. But that's how I determined it. I don't know if that was helpful, Camille. I've made videos here talking more specifically about, we actually worked through this not too long ago. If I can remember, I'll drop it in the description later. But we actually worked through how to find out what your sabbatical would cost you based on what you want. I've done some videos it wasn't too long ago, where I sat down and talked about me wanting to go to South Africa and Mauritius. And we talked about how to figure out your budget. My budget, I'm going to link to that video if I can find it quickly. My budget is exorbitant compared to this. I traveled for a full year on $14,400. And then now I'm talking about going to South Africa and Mauritius for, I don't know, a month, and I'm going to spend close to that amount. So don't get caught up in the number. I'm going to try to find this video quickly. Don't get caught up in the end number. Just use this method, use the strategy, not the plan. I'm going to try to find it in a reasonable amount of time. And it's called something about, did I call it South Africa? 2 months in Africa. I think I called it 2 months in Africa. No. So let me try to find this video. Yeah, how to afford 2 months in Africa. Okay, so I'm going to link to the video, but please remember, you don't need my strategy. I mean, you don't need my plan. My number ended up being a big number, and some people were not happy, shocked that I would take them through an exercise that ended up with such a big number. But the point is, this is how I figure out how something's going to cost me. Okay. I stayed in hostels and dorm rooms of hostels even during my trip. I stayed in bunk beds. I slept in rooms with strangers, with men snoring, an arm's distance away, or men snoring on the bunk above me, right? Most of the time, I try to stay in female-only rooms, but not every place has them or had them. So yeah, I did that. And so my budget reflects that. I stayed in a family's home and took care of their kids for a summer in Australia. Those 2 months in Australia was me staying with a family. Their summer is our winter, right? So the kids were still in school. The kids are in school in June, July, August. So I would go and get the kids up, pack their lunch, cook and feed them breakfast, drive the carpool, right? I did that in order to get a free place to stay and free room and board, free food and accommodation, and they actually let me use the car for free too. So there are things that I did to be able to make that $14,400 number work. I think with house sitting, I still think $14,400 is a year. I think if you like, yeah, if you like cats or dogs, one or the other, you don't even have to like both. I think that with if you're a house sitter, you can still travel full time for 14,000 for $1,200 a month or less. You know, less if food is going to cost you six 600 or $1,000 a month, right? You can still, this is still a fine budget in 2024 money, I think, if you're going to do mostly house sitting, if you're going to house sit most of the time. Actually, some of y'all are full-time house sitting right now. Do you have a budget? Like, what is your monthly budget? Anybody want to share that? Okay, so that was then. Any questions about then? And then we can talk about how I'm doing it now. In my travels, I use TikTok to encourage others to house sit. Yeah, so house sitting, taking care of people's pets while they're gone in their home, hack. Not just a travel hack, it's a life hack, right? I just finished a house sit here in Costa Rica on December something. I don't know. I've been in this place for 2 or 3 weeks now. So 2 or 3 weeks ago, I just finished a house sit. I still do it, right? So it will change, that will change your budget. On the other end, if you want to stay in hotels, you don't want to stay in dorm rooms and you don't even want to stay in Airbnbs, you want to stay in hotels, your budget is going to be different, right? I flew coach back then. If you want to fly business class, your budget is going to be different. If you want to do stuff, right? I didn't do a whole lot of stuff that cost money. Like I took yoga lessons. I probably went to fewer than 10 paid yoga classes in a full year. Back then I was into doing stuff. But I still only paid for 10 yoga lessons in a full year, right? If you want to take yoga around the world or Muay Thai or whatever, surfing lessons, scuba lessons, you're going to need to make sure that you've factored that into your budget. I didn't do a whole lot. I had originally planned to do Muay Thai. I really love watching combat sports, and I had originally planned to take Muay Thai, but I couldn't do it. I stayed by coincidence in Thailand. One of the hostels I was in Bangkok had a Muay Thai gym right underneath it. But when I looked in, I never saw it. There were like classes and training happening, but it never looked like beginners, and I never bothered to ask. So I never went to a Muay Thai lesson. But I probably could have gotten somebody to teach me one-on-one for just a couple dollars, right, for a few lessons. But I never did it. I backed out. I chickened out. I went to Muay Thai. I went to several Muay Thai fights in Thailand, but I never took lessons. If you're going to do a thing, make sure that's in your budget. I think that's something that I probably overlook a lot when I talk about these things, the doing things, because I really don't like to do things. But some of you like do things, and so you need to make sure you have the money to do things. Hey, Jazzy, do I ever buy travel insurance anymore? Absolutely. I'm on travel insurance right now. My travel insurance policy right now is just an annual policy. I've gone back and forth. I started with World Nomads with an annual policy. We're talking travel insurance, travel medical insurance, right? Not travel insurance as in I lost my luggage or my flight was canceled, but like travel insurance as in I got into an accident on my moped, right? And I need to go to a hospital. I'm using Alliance Net. No, I'm not. I went from World Nomads, yes, World Nomads to Alliance. I'm on Alliance now. I'm probably going to switch over to Safety Wing. I've never filed a claim, so I don't have a good idea of who's better. I just want to make sure that I'm covered for. So Alliance is funny about every time I come back into the US, I don't know. I don't want to learn. The real story is I don't want to learn the rules, so I just cancel the policy and then start over. There are rules because healthcare in the United States is so ridiculously expensive compared to the rest of the world. I always buy policies that exclude the United States. Because if my policy included the United States, it would be $1 trillion. Like, instead of, I think my first year, that policy was less than my flight. I think with World Nomads, my first policy was less than my round trip flight, and my flight was like $900. So let's say I paid $800 for a year of insurance with World Nomads. I got an alliance policy not too long ago that was three something for the year, but I feel like I did something wrong, right? I never felt secure with that. I'm like, how is it $300 for a year? Something ain't right here. I did something wrong here. Um, I feel like I'm jumping around. Did I answer your question? Do I buy any more? Yes. I just make sure that I exclude the United States, and that's it. Yes. Yeah. So if I was to stay here, I would. So when I come back here in May to Costa Rica, I will find a more long-term solution to insurance. But right now, I still use travel insurance. And even after I come to Costa Rica, I may keep the annual travel policy. So even if I do get private health insurance in Costa Rica, right? Come back in May. I know I'm going to be here for months at a time. I'm going to get an apartment, like actually live here. I will still, and so I'll get an actual private medical insurance here, which I expect to be around $1,200 to $1,500 for the year. I probably will still keep some sort of annual travel insurance policy because I like to be bopping. I like to go places. It's nice to have insurance, right? I don't know if you can. In thinking out the year and planning, I've bit off all my fingernails this week. This is not like me. I don't know if you ever noticed what my fingernails look like, but they don't look like this. This is not like me at all. But I've been sitting here and thinking and plotting and planning, and in the process have bit off my whole hand of nails. I still have this one looks a little better, but I bit off my whole hand of nails this week. That's why I don't like to be thinking. All that thinking ain't worth it. I lost every single fingernail sitting here thinking and plotting and planning. All right, I'm looking for questions about the $14,000 Pisces. No, I've never been to Cape Verde. I did have a roommate one time who was Cape Verdean. Ah, yeah, I stayed there for 2 months. The family that I stayed there with happened to not be Australian, so that was nice. She was Dutch. And I have a history of liking Dutch women. I had a coworker years ago named Connie who was Dutch, who could bake. I mean, she could bake. You know how one person can be a wonderful ambassador for an entire country. And I had this coworker named Connie when we worked in a call center, and every now and then she would bake something and bring it in. So the woman that I took care of her kids, she was Dutch. She was Dutch. He was English, but he grew up in New Guinea, right? His accent was crazy. He had the weirdest accent, I swear. Anyway, so I stayed with them. The first work exchange that I did through Workaway was with two Australian people. I couldn't get out of that place fast enough. I didn't like them at all. I didn't like them at all. They had little dogs, and part of my job was just to feed the dogs every day. They were dog breeders, and my job was just to feed the dogs every day. Make the dog food because they made the food, right? Start the crock pot, throw in some whatever, whatever they're gonna eat today, sweet potatoes and rice and whatever, throw it into the crock pot. Part of that was my job. And I also was supposed to do some yard work for them. I didn't like them at all. They were not nice people. Or not good people, I guess is the answer. Not good people. So I made the switch, moved over to the other work exchange. And that lady's still my friend. She updates me every now and then on the kids. All her kids are also growing up. Why? They still look cute though. They were cute. But like, why do they have to get older? So stupid. Okay, so Sandra, my monthly expenses are under 550 a month. This is in, where are you? Thailand? Bali? Did you tell us, Sandra? Somewhere. Sandra is in Asia, Southeast Asia. Yeah, I think 14,000. So again, it depends on what you like, right? If you want to stay in the Ritz-Carlton, then that's not going to cut it, okay? If you want to eat at Michelin star restaurants every week, every day, that's not going to cut it. But if you want to, so really you need to see someone showing their stuff, right? If someone is showing their accommodation for 450, with 550 a month, or no, that's for everything. But if when you need to see what it looks like and see if that's how you want to live for 6 months, right? The room that I lived in that I stayed in Vietnam looked a lot like this. I'm in an Airbnb now. I don't know how much of it you can see. Right, looked a lot like this, right? Like pretty. It was new construction, first of all. Uh, no complaints. I had no kitchen, but in Vietnam, you don't need no kitchen. Like seriously, you don't need no kitchen. I didn't even need the kettle, right? Like, excuse me. I think what you want to look at is how are they living? Because remember, in that house sit, not that house sit, that work exchange with the dogs, they didn't have running water. I did a work exchange for, I want to say 2 weeks with those people who I didn't like, where my job was to feed the dogs and do a little yard work. Australia is so expensive that I agreed to a work exchange with these people knowing they didn't have running water, which means no flush toilet. I pooped in a trash can in a dumpster that they converted into a composting toilet for almost 2 weeks, right? So you need to know what people, so when I say $14,000 is enough for a place, you need to know what that means. So it's going to vary based on your standard of living. It's going to vary based on the location, right? Because even that standard of living, the price of that same standard of living swings wildly from place to place, from region to region, right? What's $550 a month in Thailand is not $550. It's $5,500 a month in Switzerland, right? What is your cost of living? I mean, what is your standard of living? What is the region? So I would look, seriously, look online and let people show you their stuff. People will show you their Airbnbs and their whatevers. Look and see what that costs. This one, I'm pretty sure I'm paying $2,000 a month for this place. It's just a box, right? This I paid $450 for this same place. I paid $450. Well, no, because this is three. This is 2 bedrooms and 2.5 baths. I'll say that. This is 2 bedrooms and 2.5 baths. But this one, the 1 bedroom version of this place, I paid $450 for in Thailand, in Chiang Mai, right? I'm pretty sure I'm paying $2,000 per month for it here in San Jose, Costa Rica, right? Now it's got a nice, that place didn't have any, this has a, I don't know if you can see, this has a nice little balcony. Yes, my yoga mat is out there. No, I didn't use it today. I gotta, every time I show it, I'm like, I need to move that empty bottle of water. It's been here. I don't know why. I haven't moved it. I don't use it to prop anything up on. It's just been here. Okay, so so the straight answer from me, because I'll give you an answer, but then tell you it depends. So my answer is yes, $14,000 is plenty for 6 months. Okay, now it depends. But yes, absolutely, absolutely, right? Simi, I'm renting a 2 bedroom for 470. It's long term. And where are you? And this is Kenya. In Kenya, yeah. So like everything is. It it all depends. It all depends. That's what I did. I got on YouTube and I watched videos for long term travelers in different places and looked at their accommodation. They walk you through and show you what it looks like. I don't want to show you the kitchen because I don't believe in washing dishes before I go to bed. I wash my dishes as needed. The dishwasher's not hooked up yet. Or if the housekeeper came the other day and she did something, so she may have hooked up the dishwasher for me. I need to try it. Anyway, so listen, my dishes from yesterday are sitting right there. And then when I need them again, I'll wash them again. What am I doing about retirement? Still investing for retirement, just like you, right? Just because I don't have a job doesn't mean I don't invest for retirement. I have my 403b was converted into, it wasn't converted. I had to take the money out of the 403b and I opened up a Roth IRA. I have a Roth IRA and I have a whatever with Vanguard. I have two different investment accounts with Vanguard. Just like you, I do, right? I don't have employer matching for my retirement investment and savings account, but you know what? I make a whole lot more than I used to make. So they can keep that employer matching. It's not enough. Not enough for me to get a job. Teresa, I had 20K and was over budget after 8 months. Yeah. Where did you go, Teresa? And Teresa's channel is your sabbatical life, right? Your channel is sabbatical life. Did you document that? Patty is in, hi Patty. Patty is in Lisbon, $1,500 per month, city center rent prices. Is this for 1,500 euros per month? Is this for 2 or 3 bedrooms? Yeah, so everything is different. What you'll want to do is get the Work from Anywhere toolkit where we show you some cost of living calculators. You want to look at some cost of living calculators for the cities that you're considering and find out what people are reporting they're paying. And then you also want to get inside of the Exodus Summit community and ask women, what are they paying? Find women in the place that you're interested in going and ask them, what are they paying? What does it look like? Some of those women have a YouTube channel already where you can, where they're already sharing this information, but others won't mind sharing it if you ask. I see that you're in Kenya. Do you mind showing me what your home looks like, right? For this amount of money. How did I figure it out? Same, that exact same way, that way, right? I calculated mine even with upset, like mistakes. I calculated mine almost to the day, almost to the day. I believe I came home after, so I left on September 21st of 2015. I believe I got home after September 21st. How could I know that? Let me look at September 2016 in my photo thing. I believe I made it a little more than a year on that money. But house work exchanges saved me, right? Having full stretches of time where I didn't have to pay for accommodation was the real winner. That in Vietnam was much less expensive than I expected, so I stayed there a long time. I even went back to Vietnam. My September 2016 pictures stop and but I think this is the day I left Lisbon. September 26th. So I left Lisbon on September 26th and I walked past, there's this, I don't, it's not a really good picture of it, but there's like this pink restaurant street. And the whole time I was in Lisbon, I was like, I should go find that street. I should go find that street. And I found it the day I was leaving. So that was September 26th. So I made it a year and 5 days on my money. A year and 5 days. Yeah, ask questions. I was that determined that I wanted to go. I wanted to see Australia. I had had enough heat and humidity. Southeast Asia is unforgiving. It seemed like every place I went, the heat and humidity got worse and worse and worse. And I had had enough. And then I was in Cambodia and I did that work exchange with that Frenchman who was the worst person. And I was like, I need a break. So I found I found those two work exchanges, I think, I found both of them before I booked my flight. Got confirmed for both of those work exchanges so that I could get a temperature break because it's their winter, right? June, July, August is winter in Australia. So I needed a break in the temperature and I just needed to get out of Southeast Asia for a little bit, right? Australia is very familiar and it's easier because in most places everything is foreign. We think about the language and the food, but everything is foreign. The layout of the streets is foreign. The way you get from place to place is foreign, right? Hopping on the back of a motorcycle taxi instead of the Uber is not it's not a car. It's a motorbike. It's a motorcycle, right? Like everything is foreign and everything is a decision. And I just needed a little downtime without flying all the way back. And so Australia gave me some downtime. I didn't know then I don't think I knew that I wasn't going to like Australian people. I don't think I knew that. But even if I did know it, because I had traveled enough to meet Australians, but I'd met young, like 20-year-old Australians. They're jerks. They're not nice. They're not good people, right? But I don't know if that was if I had thought about it, I probably still would have gone because that heat, it was getting to me. It was getting to me, and I'm older now. I'm almost 10 years older now. I couldn't take it another day. Not one more day of this. I needed some time in a cooler place where everything looked familiar. Even though so Australia is like the US, but like it's like the US as recreated by somebody who just passed through, right? Like they drive on the left, um, and there are deer. Where I live in Delaware, you'll see deer crossing signs, caution deer, right? In Australia, it's koalas. Koala crossing signs, right? Where I live, the birds are mourning doves, sparrows. They're very gray, very brown, right? In Australia, it's parakeets and parrots. The birds in the trees are parakeets and parrots. They are so colorful and just, it's like, wait, these birds are just flying around. Wait, what is that? What? Where I live, if you plant a garden and or flowers or something and you wake up and everything is gone, it's because the deer ate it. In Australia, it's the kangaroos. I walked out of the place. I'd been in Australia for a couple of days and then I went to the first work exchange with the people with the dogs. And they picked me up. They were driving me through their neighborhood to get to their house. And there's like 20 kangaroos just sunning themselves in the neighbor's yard. So we get to the house, they're like, do you want to go outside and walk around? I was like, no, I do not. There's kangaroos out there. And she was like, they're just hanging out. I was like, I've seen kangaroos box each other and fight each other and attack and run after people. And she was like, those are just the males. I'm like, half of all kangaroos are males, ma'am. I'm not going outside by myself. It took me forever. No, maybe like a long time. It took me hours to decide to go outside. They lived in a beautiful place with like, when I posted a couple of pictures of the front yard, people were like, oh, what lake is that? Right? I mean, it was beautiful. No running water because Australia is so expensive that people build their homes in stages. So they had the land in the wine region, which I can't remember, near Perth. I was on the West Coast first, near Perth. I can't remember what the wine region there is called. They were in the wine region. So it's, I mean, beautiful, beautiful. But they first lived in a trailer, in a camper van on the land. Then they moved out of that and moved into the garage. They lived in the garage. I then stayed in the camper van without the running water. They lived in the garage. They only had a shower and a kitchen sink. They didn't have a toilet. We all used the same outside toilet, right? Or it wasn't even a toilet, right? So that, but that was very common. I believe that, so they had these neighbors come over. The woman was super pregnant. The husband and wife came over, and the man was the worst person. I was already staying with these two people who are not good people after I found out, right, in talking with them. Then the husband and wife came over, and the man was also a terrible person. Anyway, they came over. They lived uh, within shouting distance of the other people, or kind of, right? And they were doing the same thing. They lived in their garage, what they call a shed. They call it a shed, but it's a garage. They lived in their garage while they were building their home. And I mean, this woman was like delivering any day, and that's how they lived. Yeah, she was like, I was like, I'm not going out there. You see them kangaroos out there? And she was like, they're just kangaroos. I said, I've seen them. They're aggressive. She's like, no, just the males. But normal, right? It was, kangaroos are totally normal to them. Like, probably like rabbits. In my parents' yard, if you pull up into my parents' driveway today, right now, there are some rabbits sitting around just watching, right? To that was their rabbits, right? But not to me. To me, they were dangerous things. They were huge. Kangaroos are huge, and they have. You forget that they have claws. They have like when I went to the little thing, the little not zoo, but like zoo. The little ranger, the little girl was like something about the kangaroo. There was just a kangaroo laying on the ground, you know, chilling, posing. And the little girl said something. And the park ranger was like, yeah, he can rip you open. I'm like, well, why are we so close? If this kangaroo can rip us open, why are we so close to this kangaroo? Okay, I'm looking for questions. Yeah, mostly I remember the koala crossing signs because they have the sign and the painted road. It's painted in the road, koala crossing. Just like we would have school crossing places. I'm sure there were kangaroo crossing signs too, but they're less. I think the koalas were more protected. I think that was the reason. I don't really remember. I think the reason that the signs were for the koalas and not the kangaroos is that the koalas were more protected. Kangaroos are a dime a dozen, right? They're everywhere. They were everywhere. They were everywhere. All right. And so that is what we were talking about was me going to Australia to get a break from the heat and to be in a place that was a little more familiar, right? They got Burger King. The shopping centers look like, shopping centers that I'm used to. Everything wasn't such a hard decision, you know? In places like in Southeast Asia, everything is foreign. It's just foreign. I don't care. Anything you expect is not what you expect. Nothing is what you expect. You walk down the street, and you're like, okay, I believe if I turn my head to the left, I'm going to see a back alley. Well, you turn your head to the left. It's not an alley, it's a whole city. I never saw an empty alley, like an alley that's just the back of buildings and trash cans. It's a whole city back there. There's businesses back, there's a whole world happening in what in the US is an alley, right? Everything is foreign. Getting on the motorbikes, I had no problem with it. My dad had. I'm from a motorcycle family. Like the men in my no, I was gonna say the men in my family, but the people in my family had motorcycles. So getting on a motorcycle was no big deal, except that I would just kept forgetting when I would get dressed for the day that this is going to require me to get on a motorbike. That I'm not going to get in a car today. I kept getting dressed as if I was getting into a car. You're not getting in a car. You're getting on the back of a bike. Okay, I don't care. Yes, I want to go to the whatever. Went to the movies a lot in Southeast Asia because it was so inexpensive. I think movies in the Philippines were $4. I saw that new Star Wars, the one with the first Kylo Ren one, whatever. That was brand new. I saw it brand new. I believe it was $4. Uh, but you getting dressed for things, you just forget that everything is foreign. Nothing is the way you're used to it being. Koalas, I would say they look exactly like you think. They're bigger than you think, and they smell like cigarettes. They smell like menthol because they eat menthol or whatever. They eat menthol. They smell like menthol, but they're not like, oh, I'm here to entertain you. They're unimpressed and unconcerned with you and what you're doing. That's. I got to hold a koala in that same park. I got to hold a koala and take a picture. Uh, they look exactly like you think they look, but they're bigger than you think, and they don't really care about you. They don't care about you and what you're doing. Yeah, theaters are air conditioned. Yes, that was probably why. That's why I saw so many movies. That's right. That's why I saw so many movies in Southeast Asia. Cheap, air conditioned. Yes. I saw Master and Commander, a movie I would never go see. And then I tried to go to see in the Philippines, I tried to go see some movies in their language, and the people kept being like, that's not in English. That's not in English. Go see this other movie. They kept redirecting me. Go see another one. Uh, so I never saw a Filipino, like a a movie in Tagalog or whatever. I never saw a real Philippine movie. All the movies I saw were American movies. All right, Lenora. So if that's your dream to hold a koala, then get yourself the budget to do that. Right? Seriously. We talking today about the strategy, not the plan, right? So the strategy to get the money so that you can do that thing, right? Live out that dream. Live it, right? Don't hold on to it and just watch other people. Yes, eucalyptus is what they eat. Yeah, they smell like cigarettes. They smell like, to me, they smell like menthol cigarettes. And yes, they can also rip you open. Yes, eucalyptus. Thank you. I only saw koalas I only got close to koalas in that nature park. I saw some, we took the 2 kids that I was nannying for part time, we took them to a thing and I saw some out in the wild. But I think there was one time when I saw them out in the wild. The kangaroos, they're everywhere. Like on the West Coast in Perth, they were just like there. They're everywhere, right? Wasn't no thing. Yeah. Hi Lisa, do you think the bad people in Australia were racist or were they not good people in general? I've heard that Australia tends to be racist towards Black Americans. Australians are racist towards everyone who is not white. Australia's history is so strange. Like this country, no, I'm not in the United States, but the United States was built on slavery. Australia, as it is today, right? I don't mean that there weren't already people there. There were already people in Australia, there's just like there were already people in the US. But the way things stand today was built on slavery. In Australia, it was built on child labor. They took children from families in Australia and put them on ships to Australia to build Australia. So they have a different race. So race for them is just like, they're more, if you're and prisoners, right? Prisoners as well. They call them POMs. I'm a POM, which means I'm a prisoner of Her Majesty, POHM, prisoner of Her Majesty. Those descendants hold on to that title, right? But I would say I am the descendant of enslaved people. They're like, I'm a POM. I'm a prisoner of Her Majesty. But their race thing is just anti-Aboriginal. Is what I'll say is, as a Black person, as a Black person who was visiting and not living there, trying to get a job, an apartment, and all of that. Okay, as a Black visitor, I felt like they counted me on their side. Either you're Aboriginal or you're everything else, and I think they put me in the everything else category. I was not. It was clear I was not Aboriginal. Right. So they didn't treat me in a racist way. I can't pick out a time when someone said or did anything to me that was racist. The problem is they are openly racist towards the Aboriginal people. And as a Black person, you're not going to like it. You're not going to like that. It's not the way they treated me or Black people. I only saw one other Black person, I think, the whole time, literally, the whole 2 months I was in Australia. One, no, because I hung out with a Black dude named Fred when we went to the Great Barrier Reef. But one Black Australian person, Fred was from the U.S., one Black Australian person the whole time. I'm not kidding. So all that to say, the problem isn't necessarily how racist they are to you, to a Black person, or even to an Asian person. Lots and lots of Asian people in Australia. Very close, right? They're very close by. Lots and lots of Asian people. I didn't see people that I would call Pacific Islander, but I'm sure there were, right? And they didn't seem to, okay, I was just a visitor, but they didn't seem to be racist towards people who were not white, right? Because they seemed to put you in their category. But they were openly racist, openly hostile towards Aboriginal people. It was like the 50s in the US, right? And so that was that. 60s. I would go with 60s now. I think it was kind of like the 60s in the US. So, boom. Coco, I get nervous around street dogs like in Southeast Asia. How did you deal? Any tips on how to stay safe? For the most part, the street dog, I never had a concern with street dogs except for one time. One time I did feel like this is dangerous. This dog is like, if this dog calls his buddies, it's over for me. One time, and that was in Thailand in a little small town that didn't get a lot of tourists. I was passing through on my little moped. I rented my little bike and rode around, right? Um, for the most, I never felt. Now, also, I'm a big person, right? I'm not a small person. Animals are like everybody else. They size people up. As a big person, I never felt like they were going to be a bother to me. They never really cared about me and what I was doing, right? Um, I only had one time when I was walking. Actually, I was walking. I stayed in this place. It was really, really pretty, but not a tourist place. They had this cave. I can't remember what it was called. I'd rented a bike just to go there, to stay there for a few days and hang out. And when I was walking down the street one time, this one street dog, I was like, I don't know what to do. Do I keep walking? Do I turn around? Do I yell? I didn't have a stick or a rock in my hand, which is a thing that you're supposed to do. You're supposed to always keep something in your hand. I didn't have anything in my hand. I think I just kept going. I feel like a car maybe came and interrupted things, right? Car came and the dog took the dog's attention away. I only had that one time. There are lots and lots of street dogs, lots and lots and lots of street dogs. For the most part, I felt like they didn't care about me, and so I didn't care about them, right? I'm not going to go out of my way to get their attention. They're out living their lives. I'm just looking for questions. If I didn't answer your question and you do want it answered, go ahead and write it again. Just put a Q in front of it. Yeah, so Australia, yeah, so I didn't finish that. Hey, Sean. Shan, go Shan. Hey. Yeah, so they're just not good people in general. They're just like American white people. They're the descendants of the people who committed atrocities and feel like, yeah, they were right, right? And so they're not good people in general, including being racist, but not just being racist, right? Like the man's wife was super pregnant, super pregnant. She was delivering any day now, and their dog was dying. Like seriously, this is what I remember about this couple. They were in their early 30s, late 20s, early 30s. She's about to deliver a baby any day now, and their dog is dying, and she was going through it, right? She's an emotional wreck. So they came over for drinks or dinner, and the lady, the wife of the woman I'm staying with, goes into the kitchen. The neighbor man follows her into the kitchen, gets behind her, and starts dry humping her. She she came out of the kitchen upset. He was just in the kitchen doing like this on me. His wife had just left. She had just left to go home to check on the dying dog. And he was drunk and he felt like he was going to do whatever he felt like doing. And then he came over the next day with more wine and apologized, and everything was good. I'm like, these are not good people. She came out of the kitchen. I don't know. They're just not good. Oh, they said prisoner of Her Majesty. They told me over and I'm POHM, prisoner of Her Majesty, over and over. They're very proud of it in a weird way. Yeah, they told me a million times, prisoner of Her Majesty. This was what maybe the West Coast and the East Coast do it differently. This was over on Perth, the Perth side. I just let's and then so when I took care of the kids, even though the family was not Australian, their friends were Australian, and I did the carpool and all of that. And I don't know, they just weren't good people. I don't. I am a. I feel like that is my special skill. I have a special skill of being like not a good person, not a good. I can see through some stuff. I can't point to any time when anyone mistreated me in particular. Not one time, right? but they were not good people. And the look and that feel, the attitude that happened when Aboriginal people came through, moved through a space, was palpable. You could feel the energy. How did I source the work exchanges? I did work exchanges through workaway.info. If you get the Work From Anywhere toolkit, you'll see some links to some of the work exchanges some work exchange sites. So I would download the Work From Anywhere toolkit because it's really good. It's really helpful. I added the work exchange sites not too long ago. So if you have the old Work From Anywhere toolkit and you don't have work exchange sites, I've resent it. If you can't find it, then go ahead and just sign up for it again. If you don't find it in your email, an email that says something about updated toolkit, if you don't see that, then go ahead and get the new one. We've got some work exchange sites in there. Yeah, so I house that through workaway.info. They're supposed to give you free room and board, free place to stay and food. And you're supposed to work, I think back then the rule was 5 hours per day, but it's like 3 to 5 hours per day. There are people who have done work exchanges on farms where you like pick fruit and pick stuff. Kenya Ramsey worked on a farm. I think she picked olives in Spain. I think Kenya picked olives in Spain. You see olive picking a lot. I don't know if it's seasonal or what, but you see olive picking a lot. If you've seen the movie, what's that movie with that woman, Diane Lane, Under the Tuscan Sun, right? Where she goes to Tuscany and then they have like it's olive time and they got to go out and pick the olives, right? Like that. There are a lot of farm work exchanges. There are a lot of nanny and childcare and teach my kids English work exchanges, or there were. So this is pre-COVID. I don't know how this industry has recovered from COVID, but I imagine it has. I don't know. Or has found a way to operate during the COVID times. But like work exchanges are a combination of things. I've seen come and take photographs of my new, what is it called, boutique hotel, right? I've seen photography work exchanges. I've seen housekeeping, lots of housekeeping. Come stay in my boutique hotel. Come stay in my hostel. Nirel did that, stayed in hostels and did housekeeping and front desk work so that she got free accommodation. Anything that people are paying somebody to do, there's probably some sort of work exchange. You just want to make sure that what you're getting is fair compared to what you're doing, right? So in Australia, getting free room and board is worth hundreds of dollars per week, $1,000 per week, right? I will gladly pack your kids' lunches and drive the carpool for what I'm getting in Australia. Now in Cambodia, a work exchange is worth, I don't know, $10 a day, because you can live in Cambodia. You can get an $8 if you're a hostel stayer, or back then anyway, 2015, you could stay in a hostel for $8 a day, and then you could feed yourself for another $3 a day, right? So I worked for a farmer, and my job was to write letters. I don't know, it's just writing stuff. He was French, and he didn't feel comfortable writing things in English. I wrote letters to stuff. He was trying to get farm grant money, even though he wasn't Cambodian. And I'm like, this is a lot of work for like the equivalent of $12 a day. Because as soon as I leave here, I'm going to stay in this hostel. I'm going to eat in these. And he didn't feed me. As a matter of fact, he didn't feed me. He was supposed to give me food. And he always had reasons why he couldn't do it. So it wasn't worth it, right? $8 a day. I can stay in a hostel for $8 a day. I'm doing all this work for $8 a day. Forget it, right? Forget it. So you just want to make sure it's what you want, right? And sometimes the other people on the work exchange make it worthwhile. I've not done a work exchange with other people there, with other exchangers, with other workers. The people who do that seem to have a lot of fun. I think Monique's daughter, Monique White, I think her daughter did a work exchange somewhere, or it might have been something more formal. The people that, and I think she shared some, was it Monique? Shared some photos of her daughter doing some stuff and making friends somewhere. The other people, if you're on a work exchange with other people, it might be more fun. Nisha, I had an Italian invite me not to buy from an African at a bus depot, and I stood thinking, is he for real? I don't get it. I don't get it. I thought you were saying invited you somewhere for a work exchange. Yeah, so uh, I've seen a variety of different things offered, and the rule is $5 a day and free room and board. They're supposed to give you a place to stay and food. Oh, Simi, I nearly did olive picking in Spain. I did fruit picking in Denmark. It was great, apart from the bathroom situation. Okay, okay, good. Yeah, were there other people there that you made friends with? When you're a solo traveler, it's nice to put yourself in positions where you can meet other people. So do it. Do it. Jazzy, when will I start my Trusted House Sitters Group workshops? They started in December. So the first Sunday of the month, everyone who has the bundle, it doesn't have a special name. Everyone who bought the new house sitter bundle is invited to an individual workshop. So that started in December. So and it's the first Sunday of the month. So like right now, if you buy the new house sitter bundle, you get the invitation to the workshop that is happening the first Sunday in January. I'm no longer taking individual house sitting coaching calls or individual sabbatical coaching calls. It's just get the new house sitter toolkit for free. And then if you want extra support, you can get House Sitter School, which comes with House Sitter School bundle, which comes with that one coaching call. It's not monthly as in every month. It's one time for that month. Has that been clear? One time, not monthly, right? But you can come to the next coaching call. And I'll probably be a little lenient. If you can't make that one, you can schedule yourself for the one after. But the new House Sitter Toolkit link is housesit.vicarious.com/toolkit. I'll link to that here. Yeah, I'm cutting out those coaching calls, or I've cut out. They've been cut out. They've been cut out. I've cut out those coaching calls. You can get the bundle though and come to group coaching. And it's been small. The first one was 3 women. There were supposed to be 4 women, I think, but three were there. I think two were there. It was small. So everyone still got their questions answered, right? I don't sell enough of the bundles every month for it to be like 20 people and nobody can talk, right? Every month I sell a handful of bundles. So it's not unlike individual coaching because you still get your individual questions answered. All right. Hi, you're not late. Welcome. Friends, if you want that text reminder when it's time for me to go live, go ahead and text the word YouTube to this phone number. You don't have to rely on memory. You don't have to rely on memory to remember to come to the call. What happened to my screen? There it is. Text YouTube. You don't have to text the whole sentence. You can just text the word YouTube to 888-403-4465, and then you get a text alert 10 minutes before the live stream starts. I'm helpful like that. I sent the text alert today. I got it. I was in there putting my eyebrows on and I heard it go off and I was like, that's me. I know that's me. Texted myself. Yeah. So go ahead and do that so you don't have to remember. I am not I am not anymore remembering things. I'm not going to remember things anymore. I'm setting up systems and processes so I don't have to remember stuff. And one of those is getting alerts and reminders for things. So get your reminder. I'm not going to be trying to, I don't do that anymore. I don't try to remember things anymore. Alerts. Oh, good. All right. Welcome to house sitting. Welcome. Yeah, I think I saw the question and I don't know if I answered it. If you don't like cats or dogs, is house sitting still worth it? Where is the question? Anyway, I'm sorry. I saw it, but then I said I'll answer it next, and then I just kept scrolling. Um, yeah, there you are. Hi, Chris. Can you be a successful house sitter if you don't want to deal with pets? You can, but the Trusted House Sitters platform is for pet sits. You know what I mean? Most of the house sits on Trusted House Sitters are for pet sits. If you want a house sit without pet sitting, you're going to need to find your own clients. Now, it's possible. It's possible, but I think you need to be good at finding your own clients through word of mouth, through connection with maybe realtors or something, right? But the Trusted House Sitters platform is for pet sitting. So yeah, same question as someday became today. You have to find your own clients, right? The platform is for pet sits. There are occasionally you'll see house sits that aren't pet sits. You can go to Trusted House Sitters right now and look. You don't have to have a paid membership to be able to see what's available. You can go now and you can search and filter the search for no pets. And you can see what's available. But if my sabbatical depended on me house sitting with no pets, I wouldn't rely on Trusted House Sitters. I would make sure that I had some another way to get clients. Auntie Lou, just finished my Trusted House Sitters profile. Congratulations. I don't see a lot of house sits for Mexico. So Mexico is, Mexico is big, but for the parts of Mexico where there are most house sits, like San Miguel de Allende and Mexico City, the timing is similar to US timing, right? Similar to spring break, summertime, Christmas holidays. And so you've probably missed the Christmas holiday house sits. I saw some Mexico house sits. I still have alerts for Mexico. I have alerts for all of Mexico. So I did see some Christmas house sits, so those are probably gone. Uh, yeah, so I don't want to say you're not gonna see any until spring break, but they'll pick back up in the spring. But anytime, I don't know. All that, I don't know. They still can pop up at any time. You need to have alerts set. So Mexico is a place where people want to house sit, right? These house sits are in demand. It's not Dover, Delaware, right? So these houses are in demand, so you need to have alerts set, right? And you need to be quick on the draw. Mexico is a very house city place, especially San Miguel and around the Lake Chapala area. And I used to see even house sits over in the Baja California area, Baja California Sur. Is La Paz Baja? Anyway, Mexico is a house sitting place. It's just the timing. It's in some places house sits are all year. You can find a house sit there all the time. With Mexico, it's more holiday. Can you bring your own pet? Hey, Miss Carmenita's classroom. Can you bring your own pet? If you and the client agree on it, right? You and the client, house sitting clients are people. Some people will be a yes and some people will be a no to bring a pet, bringing a child, bringing a friend, bringing your mom, bringing your husband, your girlfriend, your client. You and your client have that conversation. Whoever you want to bring, somebody has done it. Somebody has agreed to it, right? But that doesn't mean everyone will agree to it. You just have conversations. They're just people, right? They're just people. You apply for a house sit, you tell them your situation, or yeah, no, I don't mean situation, but you tell them I house sit with my blank, and then they say yes or no, right? They're just people. Hi, Linnea. No, my house sitter toolkit does not, and house sitter school do not talk about how to like animals or how to teach. No, I assume maybe that's something I can add in the future. The toolkit and house sitter school assume that you already know how to do these things. Now, how to get a dog to follow commands, girl, no, I can't teach that. Um, Either they're trained when I get there or they're not. We're not trained. We're not dog trainers. House sitters are not dog trainers or animal trainers. No, because I've gone into it assuming that you would already know how to navigate pets and animals, but maybe that's something I can add in the future. But no, no, it's just about setting. So, house sitter school is not something you need to become a house sitter. House sitter school is for you if once it's time to set up your profile, you have a bunch of questions, right? You go to Trusted House Sitters, they want you to set up your profile, you have a bunch of questions. Okay, House Sitter School will walk you through that, setting up your profile, applying for your first house sits, and getting your first 5-star review, but not how to like dogs or how to take care of a cat. It's not that. Somebody I'm sure teaches that, but it's not that. I say just get your friend, your neighbor, your sibling's pet and take care of the pet for a weekend. Yeah, you're gonna learn. You're gonna learn. Patty Palmer, I just completed my first house sit and got a 5-star rating. It was a great first experience. Congratulations, Patty. So now the world is open to you. Once you get that 5-star review on Trusted House Sitters, all house sit, you're now in competition for every house sit, right? Like some, you don't need to, let me drop the toolkit link again. You don't need 50,000 5-star reviews to be a competitive person in the application process. You need one 5-star review, and then you are competing with me, right? You're competing. So congratulations. That opens up the world. Yeah, Tico, right. If I knew how to train a cat, Tico would not have run roughshod all over my live streams. Tico, a little tiny kitten, right? So you know I am not the person to teach you how to train an animal. No, but you can just get that practice. With cats are wonderful to house sit because they don't care about you. And you don't have to walk them. Most cats don't care about you and what you're doing. And you don't have to go out and walk them. And they poop in a box, right? You ain't got to go outside and scoop all this and do all right. Scoop it right there in the house. You don't have to leave the house with cats. That's very appealing to a hermit like me. Yeah, house sitting is wonderful. In my travels, house sits locally. So to cut down on the commute. Yeah, house sitting is wonderful. I still do it because it's amazing. Okay, I still do it. So we've talked about how I saved the money in 2015, how I saved $14,000, how I knew $14,400 was the number. Uh, I think that's it. Oh, so I told you we were going to also talk about how I approach things now that I don't have a job. Half of that money came from a job. Now I don't have a job. So what? Okay. So now I have products and services that I sell on the internet, right? Which have freed me up from a job, which give me the ability to decide how much money I want to make. Like seriously, when you go from having a job to being a person who says, this is my skill set, this is a thing that I can either teach people or do for people or consult with people on, you can look at how much money you need to bring in and decide how much money you're going to bring in, right? That is excuse me, that is the appeal of being like a digital course creator, of being a coach, of being a freelancer, of being a consultant. There was a solid ceiling on my job. I knew, right? My ceiling was $22 an hour for that year, right? Even the hospital went 3 years without giving employees a pay raise. Okay. So when I say ceiling, I really mean a ceiling. And even with overtime, I can only do so much overtime. Even if I wanted to take all of the ladies' shifts who was out on disability, there was still a ceiling on how much I could earn. When you leave a job and move into doing your own thing, consulting, coaching, freelancing, something else, there's a different approach to money, right? So I'm gonna talk money. If you get really upset when people talk money, right, and big dollars, then just go get yourself a cup of coffee or something, okay? You can mute the video for a few minutes. Okay, we're gonna talk different dollars now, okay? So I spent $14,400 to travel for a year, My birthday trip in July to Fiji is going to cost me more than $14,400 for a week. All right? Instead of saying, I can't afford Fiji. I can't go to Fiji, right? I said, what do I need to do? What can I sell? What can I do to make that money, right? I have a challenge, a YouTube success challenge that is wonderful, but it can only bring in so much money because I only can have so many students inside of the challenge. So instead, I took the challenge and made it a digital download, a product that people can buy anytime, right? There's no limit on how many people can get found on YouTube, the masterclass, right? The challenge, there is a limit. There is some ceiling. Even if I rose the price, 10x the price of the challenge, there's still some ceiling on that challenge. There's still a limit to how many students can do the challenge with me, right? I would need to pay additional coaches if everybody was going to get feedback. I can only watch so many YouTube videos, right? So there is a ceiling on that. So instead, I make sure that so the challenge is not going anywhere. I love doing the YouTube Success Challenge. It's not going anywhere, right? But I also have created, Get Found on YouTube, a masterclass that doesn't require me at all, right? I also have House Sitter School, which doesn't require me at all. It's a one-time, I made it then. It exists in the world. It helps people. I don't have to fit anything on my calendar. I don't have to have I didn't even have anybody help with those. You may want somebody to help you create your courses. I didn't even have anybody help with those because I was a virtual assistant in the previous times, right? So I have a different approach, right? So seriously, I think Fiji is going to cost me more than $14,400. It's only a week. I'm doing it. I'm only going to turn 50 one time. And I feel like this may be my last year as a person with no children. May not be, because the process can take quite a while. But this could be possibly my last year with no children. And so I'm spending this money on this thing. Instead of saying, I only make $22 an hour and that's not possible, I'm saying, well, I have these things. How much can I make from them? So my Get Found on YouTube masterclass is $97. I would need to sell 150 Get Found on YouTube masterclasses to pay for Fiji. That doesn't sound ridiculous, right? As ridiculous as I make $22 an hour and I want to go to Fiji and spend $14,000. Right? 148.45 master classes. We can do that, right? We can do that. Even if it doesn't happen before Fiji, it doesn't have to happen before Fiji, right? I can pay myself back. I can reimburse myself for some of these expenses. So I hope we're talking strategy, not plan, right? I hope that you take some of this into your strategy. What is a thing that you can do? Now, what is the thing that you can do out in the world that maybe doesn't have a ceiling? Or even if it does have a ceiling, the ceiling is high enough that it's worth it, right? What skill set do you have? It doesn't have to be coaching. It doesn't have to be teaching people things. But what is the thing that you can do that can get you the money to live your dreams? I know what it's like to have a dream and look at the money and be like, well, I can't do that, right? And I know what it's like to look at the money and be like, let me get my strategy together. Let me execute my plan. Oh, got the money together. Let's go, right? I know the difference. And the difference really is just figuring out an approach that works for you. Me saying I charge $97 for my masterclass, some of you already are like, nope, I can't do it. There's nothing I can do for $97, right? And I don't have 150 people who would buy it, right? I'm not saying create a masterclass today and sell it for $97. What I'm saying is there something that you can do that can make you the money to live out your dream? Your dream isn't even my dream. Some of y'all aren't even interested in Fiji. And if you were, it wouldn't cost you $14,000. It does not have to cost you $14,000 to go to Fiji, right? Some of y'all not interested in that anyway, okay? So we're not talking about taking my plan. We're talking about creating a strategy, hearing what somebody else did, and finding a way to figure out your strategy and your plan, right? We talked about this in Exodus Summit 2022. Exodus Summit 2022 was a virtual conference for Black women, and the theme of it was Move Abroad Money. And we brought in speakers to teach you how to make the money to live out your dream. Did anybody here attend Exodus Summit 2022 and start making money doing any of the things that we talked about? We had speakers come in and talk about a paid newsletter, which is something I think I'm going to start doing for the sabbatical fund. I don't want to get on too many different tangents at once, but I think the sabbatical fund, the Patreon community, is going to start including a newsletter that you're already paying because you're part of the Patreon. I think it's going to start including a newsletter, right? I think that people would like that. I think that people would really like to get some like a sabbatical new email on a regular basis. Did anybody start doing that? You want to share with us what you did after Exodus Summit, right? So we had the newsletter session. It wasn't called newsletters though. She called it, I could look it up. It was something about newsletters, right? Did anybody start teaching online? We had a session with Teacher Jade on teaching online, teaching what you know on the internet. Did anybody start doing that? Rashida did a session on infopreneurship, what I'm talking about, digital products and coaching and services. Anybody start doing that? We had a session on freelancing, in particular freelance writing, but it was helpful for all freelancers. Did anybody start doing that? Did you make any money from it? We had a session on feet pics and phone sex. Did anybody start making any money from that? Exodus Summit 2022 sessions had more than 20, I think 24 sessions with speakers who came in to teach you a way to make money that is not a job. Oh, we actually did have sessions on two sessions that were job related though. One on finding remote work with Libria Jones. Anybody here find remote work after Exodus Summit? Finding remote work that does not care where you are in the world. You free to go, free to live, right? And you have income. Free. You don't have to worry about saving up $14,000 to travel because you get a paycheck, okay? Get your paycheck. Anybody get any pay raise? I can't think about the job stuff. The job stuff is so hard for me to remember. Anybody get a pay raise after going to Teen Zekas' session on negotiating the salary that you deserve, right? If you have a thing that you want to make money to do, make money and do it. My sabbatical, my gap year, my career break, that 1 year changed my whole life. It was worth it 10 times over, 100 times over. If that sabbatical had cost me $144,000, it still would have been worth it because it changed my life. It changed my whole outlook on how I want to live my life. Worth it. And so I hope we can move into 2024. Instead of saying money is the reason I can't do X, Y, Z, I hope we can move into 2024 saying, here's how I'm gonna make the money to do X, Y, Z. Okay, so I brought up the Fiji thing because, listen, every round goes higher, higher, right? What's staying in hostels for me was the way I had to do it. I slept in bunk beds with strangers snoring above me, right? One room. I'm like this. There's got to be a bear. That is a bear in this room. That is not a human. All that snoring. That is not a human person. That's a bear in here, right? Now I'm talking about going to Fiji for my 50th birthday, right? A very different experience. We can make the money to elevate our lives, whatever that means for you. I don't mean elevate because Fiji is so elevated. I mean elevate because it's a dream that I had that at one point would have been ridiculous, impossible. right? Somebody's knocking on the fire escape on the door to the thing, but I don't want to. Somebody else will open it. Um, somebody else will hear 'em. What is the? It may not be that. It may be a hammer. What is the thing right now that you would love to do? What is the dollar figure behind it, and how you gonna get them dollars? I hope we don't stop at, it's gonna cost too much. I can't do it. I told you, right? So I don't have a therapist because I didn't bother to look at what it would cost. I don't have a therapist because I didn't bother to look at what it would cost. And so I could have been had a therapist. When I finally looked it up, I'm like, oh, I could have been had a therapist. Your thing, you could have been had a thing. You could have been had your thing, maybe, if you actually looked at what it would cost and found a way to make and decided to make that money. You can watch the replay for Exodus Summit 2022, but I'm not sure what the link is. I'm gonna type it in and see. The replays are still out in the world. Let me type in /2022. If you go to exodussummit.com, you're gonna see the Exodus Summit 2023. Yeah, Exodus Summit 2022 replays are still available. exodussummit.com/2022 is how you get to the 2022 sessions. Yeah, I think it's a hammer. I don't think it's a knocking on the door. Okay, Exodus Summit 2022 was Move Abroad Money. If you go to exodussummit.com/2022, you have to put that whole thing in there, exodussummit.com/2022. You can access the replays of those sessions. You can see what the sessions were. So since I did it, why don't I look at them? Since I skipped over some, why don't I look at them? I told you that I made a lot of money from overtime, but now I don't have a job. So overtime is not as helpful to me. But what could be helpful is the things that these women taught us. Black women came in and taught us in the summit how to make the money to live out our dream, your individual dream, not the dream, not my dream, right? Your dream. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna click on, is there a session thing? Adelia talked money. Let's see, I should click on the schedule and not the speakers. I'm on the speakers, but I want to see the actual sessions. Life is hard. Here I am just clicking buttons. Okay. Adelia, how much is really enough? Putting a price on the life of your dreams. So Adelia taught a session where she walked us through figuring out that dollar figure, right? How much is really enough? Jessica Poitvien was Freelance Writing 101, but again, any freelancer could benefit. She taught you how to pitch yourself, how to position yourself in the market, and how to pitch yourself to people. So any freelancer, not just freelance writing. E-commerce, Andy Swa. So, Andy is in South Africa, and she has a large e-commerce site. So she taught e-commerce and drop shipping, not for everybody, but for somebody. I think she's got a marketing background. You need to understand marketing, I think, for drop shipping to work for you. Ivana, I've created a single name for Adelia and Ivana, but they are two different people. Ivana and Thea Duncan talked about working abroad for an international company, right? Getting a job that will take you somewhere else in the world. Katrina did a taxes for expat session. Katrina Haynes, CPA. Kimberly West, running a travel business to fund your luxury lifestyle, right? Kimberly hosts travel like trips. Kimberly hosts trips around the world, and she makes a profit from those trips, more importantly, which is something I can't teach you how to do, makes a profit from those trips to live her life. Jolene GC came in and talked about trading for a leisure-minded investor, right? A lot of what we talk about when we talk about trading, and in particular day trading, is not ease, right? So Jolene GC came in and talked about trading with ease. Pam Holt talked about hosting your Airbnb, hosting an Airbnb in your home, right? Not going out and renting a whole bunch of other apartments and taking stuff off the market so people can't afford a place to live in your city, right? But your own home, when you travel, turning your home into an Airbnb when you travel so that that Airbnb can pay for your trip and more. Pam Holt, I think, made $50,000 her first year as an Airbnb host, just traveling with her kids during their already scheduled vacation times, right? Felicia Jones was the monthly subscription business model that we talked about that I called newsletters. But some monthly subscription business model was Felicia Jones' session. Sojourner came in and talked about, Sojourner is a social worker who is a remote social worker. So she came in and did a session on breaking into remote work with a traditional 9 to 5. Feet Pics and Phone Sex was Danny and Minnie. Charisma taught a session on real estate investing without being a landlord. There are trusts, REITs, that people invest in to invest in real estate and get dividends without being the landlord. Are we close to the end? Team Zekas, 3 Secrets to Earning the Salary You Deserve. Jade Weatherington, who is Teacher Jade, taught Earn Income by Teaching Anything Online. Rashida taught infopreneurship, right? How to make money from the knowledge, skills, talents you already have. Ashley Cleveland taught a session on building a business, a community, and a network abroad. Ashley at the time was living in Tanzania. She now lives in South Africa, from Atlanta, right? And she talked about starting a business in Africa and growing a community and a network to support that. Of course, Libria Jones on finding remote work. Libria Jones is the remote work queen. So those were the sessions from Exodus Summit 2022. You can watch those replays at exodussummit.com/2022. All right, so thank you for asking that question about that. Yeah, okay. Anybody starting to think about their strategy for the 2024 or 2025 thing, the thing that you need the money for? Anybody starting to think about their strategy and how they're going to approach it? No? We're done? You're over it? Denise, found a 12-day cheap European tour, but it meant that I have to stay in hostels. Okay, I'm delaying my trip to save up for better accommodation. Okay, don't need to hear theirs after a long day. I will say that there are female-only rooms. There are hostels that have female-only rooms. And if I have a choice, I'll pick that every time because also I'm gonna make friends, right? The women in the hostel are gonna become my friends. But not all places have female only, and sometimes the female only sells out fast and whatever. I would guess I probably stayed in, so 12 countries, I was probably 25, no, more like 40 cities. Let's go with 35, 30 cities. I don't know. 30 cities maybe. In most of those cities, I stayed in hostels, but not in Vietnam. Vietnam was cheap enough that I could afford a whole hotel room most of the time. I did stay in 1 or 2. I don't know. I'm guessing I probably stayed in 20 hostels. Let's say I stayed in 20 different hostels. I could go on Hostel World and look that up. Let's say I stayed in 20 different hostels. I would say 15 of those were female-only rooms. 12 to 15 were female-only rooms. I had a much better experience. Women smell better. It's just better. It's just better. Oh, it's just better. Okay, Blue Lotus history. I have tried different strategies, but haven't found the one best suited for me. Yes, right? So strategy, because somebody else's plan isn't going to work. I'd say keep working. If you've already tried different strategies to make more money, right? Was there one that if you had stuck with it longer, it would have worked? Or one that you just liked enough to give it another try? I hope that doesn't mean you're quitting. You didn't say you're giving up. I don't think you're giving up. But there is something. I don't know. I don't think that there is one thing. There's not one way. There's not one solution. There's not one plan. There's not one path for anybody. There's not one purpose. There's not one life mission. It's what you find and what you keep going at, right? Find something and then keep going. I think the I don't think house sitting always was going to be my thing. I don't think so. I think it could have been something else. Anything else if I just kept going. It could have been virtual assistant work. As a virtual assistant, I liked the work. I just didn't like the other stuff. As it took me too long to find clients and too much convincing, and I don't like to be I'm not a person who's into convincing people to do stuff. So, I dropped it. I dropped being a virtual assistant as soon as my YouTube channel started making me money. But that could have been my way, right? Instead of me having a YouTube channel where I talk about house sitting and sabbaticals, I could have a YouTube channel today where I talk about how to make money as a virtual assistant on the internet, right? If I had stuck with it, if I had found a good system and then been able to teach that system, I don't think there's a path. I don't think that you didn't ask me this. I don't think there's a thing. I don't think there's a thing. I think it's just what do you like, what fits, and what do you keep going with, right? Because I'm moving into book authorship and publishing. But house sitting and sabbaticals and career breaks has been a really wonderful mission. Being the person who's on a mission to get Black women house sitting has been fantastic. But I don't think that was always going to be my thing. I think I just found it, I liked it, and I kept going. That was the key. I think the liking it and the keep going at it are more important than it being your thing, right? You can make your thing. You can make it your thing by liking it and keep going. I don't know. On the other hand, there is ease. No, I think that's when the ease happens. I think the ease comes to you when you have found the crossroads between I like it and I'm willing to keep going at it. I think there's ease in that. And I think that's the answer. I don't know that there's a thing for people. I think there's the thing that you decided to keep going on. Nobody asked me that. But that's what I think. That's what I think. Nora's niche. I took a contract with Department of Defense just to get overseas. The goal is to use the money to buy property in Malta. What a strategy. Thanks for sharing that, Nora. Right? What a strategy. Your job, just because I want you to quit your job, doesn't mean that that's the only way to do a thing, right? Your job can be the springboard to your new life. That's the good kind of jobs, right? We think of good jobs as this job has a certain amount of prestige. This job has a certain title, right? That makes it a good job. No, what makes it a good job is does it move you closer to your dream? Does it give you something you need to be able to fulfill your dream, to live your life? That makes it a good job. So this contract gets you overseas and gets you closer to buying a property in Malta. That's good, right? Whereas a job that other people would call good would take you further away from that goal. Not a good job. A lot of y'all think you have good jobs because of the title, the prestige, even the pay, but maybe the hours, right? You think you have a good job because you like the people, but it's not doing anything to get you closer to your dream. I hope we can reevaluate what we mean by good job. I'm convinced that there are no good jobs. There are just jobs that move you closer to your dream and jobs that take you further away from it. Okay, another thing y'all didn't ask me about. Anita. Okay, so Anita did put her house on Airbnb, made enough money to take care of the mortgage and utilities while she's out. Yes, I'm now a super host. Oh, congratulations. We'll see what next year holds, but it lowers my overhead for bopping around. That's right. Right? The house can take care of itself through Airbnb. It's one thing you don't have to worry about, right? One thing you don't have to stress about. Some of you are like, oh, I would love to travel full time, but I got this house. Well, could the house take care of itself? Could that no not could it be a non-factor? Can you even if the house is not going to give you the money to live the new life, can it take care of itself so it's not, a thing you have to even worry about? That's wonderful, Anita. Good work. Yeah, that's hammering. It's not somebody knocking. Release your life says celebration time. You get partial credit. I end 2023 with a negotiated raise, starting pay on a new job. Congratulations. And a new YouTube channel. Congratulations. And a visa for permanent residency in Mexico. Woohoo. Woohoo is right. Congratulations. Winning. All the wins. All the wins. Okay, good. So negotiated pay raise, is that because of Team Zekas and the summit? Because if so, I'll let her know. I'll let her know. I do want to take all the credit, but I will share. I took a screenshot. Congratulations, right? A year is, even though years go by really quickly, a lot can change in a year. Rashida said the other day on her video, she had just left coaching with the From Burnout to Bliss gang, and a lot has changed for them in a year. A lot can change. Congratulations. That's wonderful. Yeah, Kay says this is motivating. I need to stay connected so I remain focused, killing debt and savings. Yeah, yeah, I believe in that. I believe in community keeping you accountable, right? Keeping you on track and keeping your focus, your attention. I think it's important. I think it's important to put yourself in community with people have who prioritize the things that you prioritize, right? Because it's really easy to forget that this is a thing that you're planning for, right? It's really easy to forget that this is your priority. I'm that kind of person. Listen, I will forget. I'm only traveling with 2 suitcases, and still sometimes I'll open up a suitcase. I'm like, oh, I forgot I had that, right? It's easy to forget. And I only have this much stuff. I only have this much stuff in the whole world. And I'll be like, oh, I forgot about those pants. It's easy to forget things. We need community to keep us, to not just, even beyond keeping us accountable, just to remind us that this is a thing that is important to us. We need to get in community with people where those things are important, where those things are talked about. So we remember, oh yeah, this is important to me too. That's wonderful. Yeah, Kay. Yeah. Mimi Slow Travels. My plan is to keep saving as much as I can to build up my funds before I leave my job in June. Okay, good. I'm going to do a long-term travel regardless, but it'll be nice to have a whole lot of extra cash. Yeah. Yeah. Um, Freedom. Money, there's a YouTuber, I think it might be what's his name? The Nomad Capitalist, right? I don't like him, but I'm going to give him credit for the thing that he says. I believe it's him. He calls money freedom units, right? And that's how we look at it. It's freedom units. Collect your freedom units and use the freedom units. It's a two-part process. You don't want to just have them. You want to use them. What's the point in having all the freedom units if you don't use the freedom units? So I'm glad that you said you're going regardless, right? Use the freedom units. But yeah, we want to get a strategy to collect the freedom units, and then we want to use them. Use them. Listen, I'm going to Fiji, okay? I'm going. I'm not going to be on my last day talking about, I didn't see this. I didn't do that. I didn't prioritize this. I hope I can go out with a bang. I hope I can go out happy, right? Satisfied that I did what I came here to do, right? Right now, I feel like the book, a couple more trips, and a family of my own, I can just coast after that. the rest of my life, I could be like, ooh, I did it. Check, 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 right? I did what I came here to do. I can just sit back and chill, swing in a hammock. I know that that's not how life works. And as we achieve things, then we want more things and new things and all of that. But I don't know. I feel pretty good. Even without the yacht, as I've said, the working towards a yacht is more of a plan. Is there's joy and there's fun in that, even if it doesn't happen. But I do think that if I don't write a book and if I don't get my own family, I will feel regret. I don't think if I don't get a yacht, I'll feel regret. I don't think so. But I do know those things are things that I need to not be on my last day saying, I wish I, right? So I'm gonna keep making that progress. Do y'all have those things? Do you have some things? Have you like ordered, prioritized your your wants? I think that those are the things where I'm like, no matter what, regardless, right? Mimi said, regardless, regardless, those things are happening. Ah, Felix X, creating a trip jar today. Plan to sell furniture, decorations, crystal, and silver dinnerware online. Good. Yeah, that stuff you're not using. That's cash. You're sitting on cash money. Go ahead and get your money. Go ahead and get your money. Either get your money or use it. If it would be more enjoyable for you to use it than to sell it, use it then. But get your money. I sold a bike and a guitar. I promise you I had never ridden that bike. And I hunted it down. It was kind of it was black. It was kind of a retro look to it. I don't remember where I went to get it from. I know I bought it from a person. I do remember. She lived in an apartment, and she was like, I don't know what I was thinking buying this bike. You had to walk up like 2 or 3 flights of steps and all of that to bring the bike down anytime she wanted to ride it and all. And so I bought it and then never rode it. And it was really, really pretty. When I sold it, I think I sold it to one of my coworkers, Evelyn. I sold it to one of my coworkers. She couldn't wait to get it. I mean, it was really, really a pretty bike, but it was money. That was just me sitting on cash. Just me. Tony says, I took a 6-month sabbatical. I did nothing. Yes. I'm working again to do it once more to buy land and a shed. Okay, good. Yeah, you don't have to do stuff. I didn't do a whole lot. I told y'all, I thought I was going to take Muay Thai classes. I did not. I did take 10 yoga classes. I almost say 10 yoga classes. I did yoga a few times back to back in Thailand. I did yoga in South Africa. So I'm going to go with 10. May have been 6, right? I, but I didn't do a whole lot myself. Took a whole lot of pictures for Instagram back when Instagram was for pictures. And that's it. My child, let's go. Says my plan is to go to Senegal, learn how to deliver babies. Yes, you told us this. Deliver babies naturally because of the death rate. Yes, you told us that. Yeah. So how are you working towards the money, or is money not a thing? Is money not a standing in the way? Hi, Yvette. Thank you for jumping on. Happy New Year. Nice to see you. All right, friends. Let's see. Yes, Yoga Bliss Dance. There's a job board for government jobs abroad. Some are open to civilians. So USA Jobs. Yeah, usajobs.gov. The problem with government jobs abroad is they have no problem wasting your time, right? And not responding to you. It's a common theme on the USA Jobs site, anyway, 10, 15 years ago it was, where you have no idea where you stand in the process. It's not the smoothest process. But yeah, you can find it. Just like there are government jobs in the US, there are government jobs abroad. There is such a thing as getting a job abroad. We just don't talk about it that much because it's the hardest way. The hardest way to move to another country is getting a job in another country. The hardest way to move to another country is getting a job in another country. Right. The easiest way is alimony. Find and divorce a rich sucker. Is that not the easiest way? I know y'all always disagree with me. Okay? The easiest way would be finding a skill set that you can do from anywhere, cultivating, crafting a skill set that you can do from anywhere in the world for money, online or not in person, because places don't let you work there if you don't have the right to work there. But finding something you can do online for money is the easiest way. So that's why we talk about that. Or just living off of the money you've already put towards your next life. You've already saved and invested to have the money to live your next life, retirement. Just start it now, right? So I guess retiring is the easiest way. And then the second easiest would be the rich sucker. And then the third easiest would be, what is your skill set? And how can you make that money without being in a particular place? Right? I can teach people how to become a house sitter without being side by side with you in your city. So those are things. Getting a job in another country is the hardest way. Things that make that easier, though, are having a skill set that it has a shortage in the country you want to move to. So some countries post a list of their shortages. That may make it easier. Working for a company getting the job in the U.S. and having them transfer you abroad, like we talked to Ivana about, and Thea, that makes it easier. Being a teacher, I would say being a teacher makes it easier to work in another country because they're international schools. I think Adelia is the resource for that. Or Adelia wrote a book on being a teacher abroad. So that would probably be, those things make it easier, but I still would guess that's harder than just having money and living where you want, right? Being able to make money to live wherever you want, being able to have a stash of cash from retirement and live wherever you want. Patty says, could you talk about what kinds of services people are willing to pay for? I might like something, but it may not be valuable enough for people to pay. People, I think the answer is people pay money for something that gives them a shorter route, right? Faster turnaround, or clears up something that could be confusing. I think all people who sell a product or service or goods, not goods, no, a product, a service, all people who sell a service online, what they're selling is the convenience of not having to figure everything out from zero yourself, or they're selling a faster result, or both, no matter what it is, whether it's house sitting or starting a YouTube channel or how to get government contracts or how to hire your first employee or whatever. What they're paying for is speed. Speed this up for me or clear this up for me or both. But I don't think it matters what the thing is. Teacher Jade had a student whose expertise was how to cook eggs. I think she said he had 40 ways to cook an egg or something. His class was 40 ways to cook an egg. Those people are paying that's a paid class, a paid math. I think it's a download or like a paid video lesson, right? I don't think it's live teaching with him. I think it's a digital course. Those people aren't paying 40 ways to cook an egg because there's no one else on the internet teaching how to cook an egg. They're paying for the clarity and the speed. I don't think it matters what you teach. I don't think there's something that won't work and something that will work. I teach house sitting, and house sitting is unpaid, right? People pay for house sitter school because sometimes they get on that Trusted House Sitters platform and they're like, what? What? What am I, right? I can help you with that. Clarity and speed, one or the other or both. I don't think it matters I don't know that you can name a thing that I would be like, ain't nobody going to pay for that if you can speed up the result or make it more clear or both. Am I answering your question? I know you want specifics, but I'm telling you anything. It can be anything as long as you're doing those things. And there may even be a third. People pay for convenience, which I think is like speed and clarity. People pay for community. Actually, there's more than that, more than those two. People pay for community in a space. People will pay to be in a space where there's community because we don't have community in our everyday lives. So I guess I'm saying it could be anything. It could be anything. If you're looking at your thing and you're like, people won't pay for that. First, you're probably wrong because somebody's probably already paying somebody for it, right? But can you figure out a way to make it more clear or faster or to include more community than the free version? I don't know that I've ever had any. Well, no. Let's say my house sitter school. You could watch all of my house sitting videos and get 99% of what's in house sitter school. But do you want to sit and watch hours and hours and hours? I think house sitter school is a 45-minute video. It's 45 minutes, 3 videos in 45 minutes, right? You can learn how to set up your stuff in 45 minutes. You could sit and watch my live streams, right? There's a whole lot. You can bake a loaf of bread for pennies. Anybody here bake? I've made my own bread. It costs pennies. You need a little salt, a little yeast, a little flour, a little oil or butter. Pennies. You buy that bread because it's convenient. It speeds up the process. Speeds by a lot. Gives you more consistent results. So I'm going to add in another thing, more reliable, consistent result. We're up to 4 reasons that people pay for things that you think they wouldn't pay you for. We've come up with 4 reasons now. Consistent result. I'm writing this down because this is good. They'll pay for convenience, which is, no, I'm going to change out convenience. I'm going to say speed up the process or the progress or the result, speed up the result. They'll pay to be in community, even if the other stuff isn't necessarily there. And what am I missing? Clarity, make things clarify, which is more about convenience, clarify, right? We may come up with more before I'm done, right? You think, friends, it's not just Patty, friends, you think people won't pay you because you won't pay, you wouldn't pay for that. So maybe you need to see what it's like to pay for some conveniences, see what it's like to pay for some consistent results. See what it's like to pay for some clarity and for some community. See how much better it is over there. And then it'll make it easier for you to say, oh, this is worth money. Okay? I have coaches. That's how I know my coaching is worth money because I pay coaches and I see what that does for me. Every time I sit in coaching with Zoe, I come away with hours of things figured out in a 90-minute call. Things that would have taken me hours or weeks or some stuff I would have never figured out or never even thought to do. In a 90-minute coaching call, group coaching call, problem solved before we hang up, right? I know what coaching is worth because I have coaching. I get coaching. And so that makes it so much easier for me to be like, yeah, this right here is Get Found on YouTube Masterclass is $97. Okay? Right? I don't know. People will also pay for accountability. We add them to the list, right? All the things that you think are let me write it down before People will pay for accountability, which is not necessarily the same as community, might be and might not be. So I'm going to make it separate. So we're up to a list of 5 reasons that people will pay you for something, even if it can be gotten for free. Okay? You're right now paying for some sort of, you probably are. If you've gotten some result on something, you probably are paying somebody just for a little, for some of these, just for some accountability and to speed up the results in some part of your life. That bread is about consistent results. We buy bread for convenience, but also for consistent results. Because making bread is pretty easy and it's pretty cheap, but it's not, for me, it's not predictable. The temperature in the house matters. Did somebody jump up and down while it was in the oven, right? Well, we're not getting consistent results when I bake bread. So I'm buying bread for the consistency. I know what I'm gonna get when I open that package. Okay, Rashni said this is a great list. Hey, Glamazini. Yeah. So when you start thinking about nobody would pay for that, if it's one of these things on this list at least, you're probably wrong. And somebody's probably already paying somebody for it, and paying somebody for it who's not even as good as you are. I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters, right? I've paid a woman to come to my mom's kitchen and put my hair in 2-strand twists. I clearly know how to do 2-strand twists. I paid that woman. I just didn't have it. I didn't have the energy. I didn't have the desire to do it. I wanted her consistent result. I wanted her to speed up the process for me. And maybe I also wanted some community, right? She came into the kitchen. My hair was already washed. I even detangled it. I think she would have detangled it for me. I think Vicky said she would detangle it for me. But I got the kind of hair that makes people fuss. I detangled it. She came and I sat in that and she put my hair in 2-strand twists. Right? I don't know. Your list of things that you know how to do, you're not going to find nobody's going to pay for this because it's not worth money. Okay? It's worth money if it can give a consistent result, or if it can speed up a result, or if it can clarify a confusing process, or if it can provide community, or if it can provide their accountability, right? Zoe, my coach, a good portion of the stuff that I did get done from July on to this year, to the end of this year, is because I got to look her in her face. I'm not coming to another coaching week and being like, well, I didn't do it. Yes, she has a skill set that I need. Zoe has a background in PR, my coach. Zoe has a background in PR. I don't. She knows things that I don't know. So as a coach, she's very helpful. But also as an accountability partner, she's helping me get what I need to do done. I'm paying her because I need accountability. Okay. Okay. Chris, do you have a process or steps to take to choose what opportunities to choose first? So I am a go with the flow or like what feels right person. Some people like a more designed system, right? I would just pick something that looks, if you have a list of things that you could do, a list of opportunities that you could create for yourself, a list of ways that you could make money or whatever we're talking about, right? Now I'll just pick one that be like, this one feels like the one I want to do, right? If you need more of a system, you can come up with a little matrix, what they call them, rubrics. How quick, fit, fast would it be to start, right? A little checkbox, score them 1 to 5 or 1 to 3. How quickly could I get started? How confident am I that I can do this thing? How do I know anybody already who would pay me for this thing, right? Maybe that's a way you can decide things. I'm not that kind of decider. I'm a go with what I want. This one feels right, right? But I think what maybe come up with a rubric. Are they called rubric? I use the corporate speak for y'all, but I'm not a corporate girly. Come up with a little thing and score them. Score. If you have 4 ideas, score them 1 to 4 in each one of those categories. Which one, and add in a category, which one is more fun? Which one am I most interested in? Maybe you add that in twice, make it the most important. Which, right? You can do it that way, or you can just pick one. Pick one that you want to focus on. I think if you're talking about making a significant amount of money, you need to be able to focus on this thing for years, not months. Do I have 2 years to commit to this thing? A YouTube channel, you join my YouTube challenge, first thing I tell you is you have committed to making 100 YouTube videos. I don't know if you knew that, but your channel, you've committed to making 100 YouTube videos, okay? Now let's get number one. Let's start with number one. Which one's more interesting to you? Which one do you want? If 2 years of your life are gonna pass by, which one do you want to make in? Which one do you want to prioritize? Rosita says a decision matrix. Okay, get your decision matrix together and decision some stuff. Okay. Black Women Build Wealth says focus on the return on investment for the first idea. Folks, to choose which one is the best idea, go with the return on investment. Okay. So these are more strategic ways. Again, I would just be like, I want to do crochet. Right? I would just pick the one but you decide. Some of you are much more strategic. Some of you are Virgos. Okay. Some of you are Libras. You're going to weigh some things back and forth. I am a Cancer, as we have discussed. I'm going with the flow. The flow tells me this one. Okay. Yeah, but I would say even if we're talking 10 hours a week or 5 hours a week of your committed time, right? 5 or 10 hours a week can build a business. Ask me how I know, right? Which one of these do I want to spend serious 10 hours, not 10 BS hours, but like 10 real hours per week for the next year or 2 years? Which one of these? And then do it. I really think when we stick with consistency, I say on YouTube is not a growth strategy, but consistency is a growth strategy in other ways. It's not a growth strategy for a YouTube channel, but it is a growth strategy for you personally. You grow personally through consistency. Okay? Hello, Cancer Gang. A job in tech. I don't know. So, legendary legacy. Legacies? Hi. I am not a job person. This is not a channel about jobs. I don't, F them jobs, okay? These jobs ain't loyal. We ain't worried about no jobs. If what you want is a job in tech, then you need to find a community of people who are into jobs. I'm so serious. We're not into jobs over here, okay? We're talking about how we can take our skill set out of a job. I had a serious ceiling when I had a job on how much I could make and how much I could live. And my life is exponentially better because I ain't got no job. We're not the job gang, okay? But for some of you, we talked about this just now. For some of you, a job is the way to live your dreams. If the job gets you closer to living your dreams, do it. That's what is a good job. But I can't help you with that. I'm not the one. I am not the one. Yeah. Mara, I can commit to 10 hours a week on an idea that I have for a business. 10 hours a week, right? If I were in the just getting started phase, right? For the first 2 weeks, seriously, I would spend 10 hours asking some people some questions, right? Getting on the line with some people who are further down the road than you. We call them mentors or coaches or friends, community members. I'd spend maybe we'll talk about this. Maybe I'll make a whole video. I think that first week, them 10 hours would be asking some people questions. What am I not thinking about? Here's what I'm thinking about doing. What are your thoughts? Seriously, you don't want to get well, I guess it depends on who you are and how you operate. Some people get caught up in other people's thoughts. If you're a person who can disregard other people's thoughts as needed, then that's probably where I would start. If I was a person who knew that other people could sway me, then I probably wouldn't start there. I would move that down the line. But in the beginning, I'm thinking about doing this. What do you think? Right? Let them give you some shortcuts. I would spend the first 10 hours collecting shortcuts. And then I would spend the next 10 hours getting something out in the world. The most basic version of the thing I'm thinking about doing, getting it out in the world. That means I don't have a website yet. I don't have a business name yet. I don't have a logo yet. I don't have any tech stack. What I have is an email address. And I've told people in my circle that this thing exists, right? I would spend the next 10, so that's 10 hours, 2 weeks. I would spend the next 10 hours working on the actual, like, what is my, if it's a thing where you need clients, what is my strategy going to be to get clients, right? I think it's going to be YouTube. I'm going to tell you that for anybody. I think your strategy for getting clients is going to be YouTube. That's how I would start. Are we at 40? Was that 30? Okay, okay. And then the next 10 hours I would spend executing my thing, whatever it is. I don't know what your thing is, but that's how I would spend the first 40 hours. That's a month. I would do in that first month, that's what I would do. Yeah, we ain't into jobs over here. Some of you have jobs, bless your hearts. No, some of you have jobs. I hope we are all evaluating whether or not our jobs are getting us closer to or further from our goals. First, I hope that we have goals, a dream, a plan, a vision for your life, a vision for your life. And then I hope you sit back and say, is this job getting me closer? Some of you, with some tweaks, your job can get you closer, especially if it's just money. Your job might get you a whole lot closer. But for some of you, you're going to have to leave. The job is in the way of you living your life. Some of y'all are going to have to leave it. Exodus Summit is a Facebook community at exodussummit.com/community for Black women only. Exodus Summit is a virtual event that happens every year. I'm trying to get the links. You know, I can't do these things at the same time. I can't. I got to say copy. I can't keep talking because how am I going to say copy and paste out loud if I keep talking? Okay. So Exodus Summit is a Facebook community. It's also a virtual event, a virtual conference that happens for the last 2 years. It's happened in October. The October 2023 session was Exodus Summit 2023, Location Freedom, Financial Freedom, and Time Freedom for Black Women at exodussummit.com. Exodus Summit 2022 was about Move Abroad Money. So that's why we're talking about the old one today, not the newest. But those are, you can go to exodussummit.com and find both last year and this year from there. And Exodus Summit is a meetup that's happening in Cape Town, South Africa in February. We have some tickets available. Well, some women in the community are selling their tickets to the February Cape Town meetup. If any of you are wanting to go with us, if any of you want to meet up with us in Cape Town, South Africa, February 16th through 20, there are tickets available. Go into the Facebook group and look for a post about I'm selling my ticket. We'll do something in a more organized way, probably any day now. But yeah, there are a handful of women. I think we have 3 or 4 women selling their tickets. There will be 100 women there, right? There are 100 women going, have more than 100 tickets sold. Or we have 100 tickets sold, but 3 or 4 women are selling their tickets. If you already have a ticket and somebody wants to go with you, go ahead and buy a ticket for them. The meetup is Cape Town, South Africa, February 16th through 20th. It's a really loose meetup, right? We get together on one night. We're doing a welcome party, welcome reception. I don't know if you would call it a party. It's a welcome reception, meet and greet. And then one day we're spending a whole day out. We're going to the Stellenbosch wine region. We're going somewhere else that I don't think I'm allowed to announce yet, doing some out and about things. And then the rest of the time you'll be able to meet and hang out with and become friends with and sisters with other women inside of the Exodus Summit community. 100 Black women. It's amazing. The Exodus Summit meetups are fantastic. Every time we work on them, we think about the actual events happening, and we get there. What we're floored by, what we're blown away by, is seeing y'all together, right? Seeing y'all get forming something real, real relationships, real friendships, real community. We get to say hi to you, meet you, talk to you, hang out with you, eat with you, all of that, party with you, drink with you, dance with you. But you leave there with your gang. If you are in a place in your life today where you are into something and your girlfriends, your family, your homegirls are not, you don't have community who's into doing as little as possible, who's into F them jobs, I'm not striving anymore. If you don't have that gang, you can meet those women inside of Exodus Summit. Yeah, so jobs are in the way. Jobs will stop you from living your dreams if you That's why. Listen, I am not team jobs. I am not about the jobs. I don't. Listen, I'm on the other side of that, and I'm so glad. I'm a new person. I'm a new person because my job is not the boss of me, right? One more link I'm gonna give you. I have a book coming out soon. I can't give you a date, okay? My book, Job Detox, a framework for Black women to stop striving and get free. It'll be out in the world sometime, okay? But if you want to get on the wait list so you don't miss out on the release of Job Detox, go ahead and sign up for the wait list. This is just a wait list. It's not, I'm not asking for any money, okay? Don't worry, okay? I don't know. I'm, I can't take any money for this book. I don't know when it's coming out. It's a whole year late, okay? I'm a whole year late because I didn't get an accountability coach until July. I didn't get Zoe until July on my team, okay? I don't know. Your questions about the book, the answers, I promise you, is I don't know. When is it? I don't know. What's the cover look like? I don't know, all right? But if you do want to know when the time is right, go ahead and get on the wait list. It's just a list, okay? Thank you for that. Exodus Summit is online. October 2024 is online. This year, I don't know. It would be really nice to do something in person during the summit, but I don't know if that's going to happen. But it's online. It's an online event. Okay, good. Thanks for the helpful information this morning. I hope everyone has an amazing 2024 and meets the goals we've set for freedom. I hope so too. Thanks, Ms. Carmenita's classroom. Thank you for that. You know what I didn't do is super chats. I don't even know if y'all are still here. Pebble Ministries Inc. Thank you for the super chat. I hope you're still here. The thing describes the thing instead of showing me the thing. So it says Shiva dog shaking his hips saying thank you. Thank you for that super chat. I hope you're still here. Legendary Legacies, thank you for the super chat. Hi. Hi, Cancer Sister, July 19th. Love your YouTube channel. Thank you very much. Thank you for that super chat. I appreciate that. Super chat goes to the Vicarian Sabbatical Fund, which sends a Black woman on sabbatical. So thank you very much for the super chat, friends. Okay, so we've talked about money. We talked about strategies to get money. Let's do it. Okay, let's do it. Let's do it. We're going to live out our dreams, 2024 and beyond. Okay? And money's not going to be the reason we don't. Okay? We're going to work on our thing, understanding that our thing is what we want to make. It's what we make it. I don't know. I don't know what I mean by that. It's what we want it to be. We're not following someone else's prescription, right? We're doing what our thing, okay? So that we can make progress on our thing. All right, friends. Thank you so much for being here. It's been a long one. I appreciate you. I'm going to the market in Costa Rica for the first time tomorrow. I had a wonderful meetup with the Black women who are here in Costa Rica who are part of the Exodus Summit community. and some friends. We had a wonderful meetup here in my Airbnb last Saturday, and tomorrow we're going to the market, the feria. My first time going to the market. I've been in Costa Rica for 3 months this time, and last time I was here for 3 months. So first time, I've been going to the grocery store all this time. First time going to the market, so I'll let you know how that goes. All right, and hey Nirel, we were talking about you earlier, and I will keep you posted on how all that goes. Next time we're together, will I be in Grenada? No, no. We are together on the 6th, and then I fly to Grenada on the 7th. So, one more time here in Costa Rica, okay? Happy New Year, friends. Happy New Year. Happy 2024. I didn't want to do a wrap up yet because I'm not wrapped up. I haven't wrapped up the year yet. I'm on a weird schedule. I started the year in October, so I couldn't wrap things up yet. But Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Have a prosperous and abundant and joyful and loving New Year. Have a year year of your wildest dreams. Have the year of your wildest dreams. Have the year that you look back on fondly for the rest of your life. So glad you were here to this morning. Yes, this is a wonderful, listen, this community, I'm telling you, this is a wonderful community. All right. You want to be a part of it. You want to be in here. This is where we want to be. All right. Yeah. Okay. Happy and productive, happy and restful, happy and joyful, happy and happy and happy and happy New Year, friends. Thank you so much for making this an amazing year on this YouTube channel and in this community. Thank you for that. It's been amazing. Let's see. The number has grown significantly, the number of subscribers, uh, but the community has stayed amazing, right? The number has grown, but we haven't lost our friendliness, our intimacy, our community, our relationship hasn't suffered. Our relationships are stronger this year. We've met. Some of us have gotten to meet. Okay, so yeah, I want to. We'll talk on this. I think that is probably what's going to happen. I think that's probably what's going to happen. We've met. Some of us have met in person. Some of you have met in person without me, but I'm okay with that. Uh, yeah, I said I wasn't going to do a recap, but I guess that's the recap. It's been a wonderful year. A wonderful year. More next year. Okay. To more of that next year. Thank you so much, friends. I'm trying to scroll in. Thank you, thank you. Yes, our countdown to freedom. Some of you have made significant progress on your freedom plan, right? Your new life. Some of you are out there living it now who weren't this time last year. Some of you are much closer. Happy New Year, Deborah. Thank you very much for that super chat. Some of you are much closer than you were this time last year. Have some black eyed peas for me, please. My mom and dad will too. Have some for me. Some of you are so much closer. Some of you are already there. Some of you are adjusting focus. So, to more of that, to more and more and more. Okay. Thank you so much, friends. All right. Have a wonderful weekend. Have a happy new year. I'll see you again real soon. Bye, guys.